All right, 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. Welcome aboard the post-game show. Jay Phillips with you here. Terry will be along in just a second. Captain Dave is running master control, keeping Dave from listening to Larkin Poe's greatest hits and other things that Dave needs to do on his afternoons. But did you finally get some sleep, Dave? Dave was here till like Sunday morning at 6. Did you watch the sun come up?
Yes, I did.
From the east.
I did.
I believe you. No, nice work, sir. Nice
Meet
work.
some interesting people at 6 in the morning on Sunday morning around town.
My mama used to say nothing good happens after midnight. I don't know if that's always true. I don't know. You know, moms are usually not wrong, right? Just sometimes there's degrees of rightness. Anyway, lots to get to on today's program. Our buddy Hale McGranahan of the Big Spur will join us coming up bottom of the hour. He's been covering the press conferences this week, players, coaches alike. Today, the coordinators went, all three of them, Joe D included. And later on, we'll focus on something that Mike Shula had to say about Lenoris Sellers and the conversations that they have. For those of you who are regular listeners of the program, you've heard me this week questioning, I'm not questioning decisions, I'm not questioning tactics, I'm not questioning long-term goals, but I have questioned why it feels like Lenoris individually and maybe the offense collectively has just not seemed to click. And there's been a lot of things said. Consistency, communication, and all those things can be true. But what are we looking for? What causes the inconsistency? What's causing the lack of communication? And those are maybe separate from some of the things that I've asked about. But one of the things that I have, again, somewhat rhetorically questioned is, as Lenoris Sellers is being further developed, not only for this level, but the next. Obviously, a huge part of that is having him have a better pocket presence, right? Having him go through those progressions, go through those reads, be patient, even though you only have 3 or 4 seconds max to show that level of patience. And try to hit an open receiver, an open tight end, an open running back in the flat, whatever the situation calls for. And at the same time, especially I think evident in the Virginia Tech game, were a couple of instances where Lenoris maybe held on to the ball too long, which tons of quarterbacks are guilty of at every level of football. But is part of it that Lenoris isn't able to be as much of himself as he would like? And is that denting his confidence in some way? Not that he's going to become less confident as a quarterback. I think everybody understands what I'm saying, and I talked with Ryan Brewer about this yesterday, that it's just, is he saying even to himself, don't run, don't run, don't run, don't run? And then suddenly it's too late if he wants to run. And at what point do Shane Beamer and Mike Shula look at him and say, all right, listen, if you've been counting to 4, count to 3. Because I believe, and I know I'm not alone in this, part of what makes Lenoris so great is that when he is feeling his best, when he's got that confidence level, then he can come in for the next play and want to hit that pass, and he feels a little bit better about it, that he's contributing. And has he contributed as much as he would like? So, but Mike Shula did touch on at least in a roundabout way some of that earlier today, so we'll get into that for you. Shane had so much to say yesterday, went over a half hour. We got to a lot of it, but we'll have more on that. And several players, including a lot of good stuff from Case and Henry. We'll touch on those things for you throughout the afternoon as well. And again, Hale will join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. Speaking of bottom of the hour, around 4:30 today, just to have you paying attention and looking ahead, our friends at Pro Swing have something really cool that they are going to do with us today. Their fall golf league starts at the end of the month, and you can still join. ProSwingColumbia.com if you're interested is the easiest way to find out about it. But we're going to give 2 of you the chance to win a full league membership for the fall. It's a 10-week league. Prizes available. You know, Terry Ford autographs for like third place finishers.
Wow, that's going to be hot.
Well, it's their third place.
Yeah,
Or third,
still.
third
I mean, that's you know how much you can get for Facebook Marketplace for those. Man?
I do because I tried, and I'm still holding on to mine.
Well, you forged my name when you sold my stuff.
That's right, Johnny Unitas. It's like that's
You
not
don't
Johnny.
spell Unitas Y-O-U, Bob. What's your deal?
That's not Johnny Unitas. But we'll have there's going to be trivia involved because this is a $350 value. And
This
we're
is
doing
cool.
2 of them.
Yeah, this is cool.
So that's $700. I can do that math.
Did you do that one in your head?
Uh-huh.
You didn't use your phone?
Nope. Nope.
I see your phone out. I don't believe
Not
it.
even a little bit. No, it's off, man. So, yeah, around 4:30 today, and there will be live trivia involved. I'm not going to give any hints.
Nope.
It's not super hard. But it's not.
But it's not super easy.
It's
either.
not super easy either. Like, it's not going to be how many holes are on a typical golf course. It's not going to be that
Everybody knows
easy.
that one. 14. Come on, Bob.
I know. But it's not going to be that easy.
Okay.
But you know what it
letter
is.
does golf begin with?
Right. That would actually be really funny. If we set them up for something like
We
that.
did something once, a trivia when I was in Baltimore, and nobody could get it. And it got to the point where we decided to change up the question to, what city do the Baltimore Ravens play in?
Yeah.
It took a little while long. No, we just got so goofy with the question because nobody could get the question.
It's like on Celebrity Jeopardy. Just write down a number. Any number.
I'm going to tell you, that is one of the best bits Saturday Night Live ever had with Celebrity Jeopardy.
So that's coming up. But again, it's cool. It's a $350 value. And if you've never been to Pro Swing, it's so much fun. If you have been, then you know how much fun it is. So if you'd like to do, and it's good at either location.
Mm-hmm.
The leagues go on at the Chapin location, the OG, out on Snapdragon, next to, again, Integrated Media World Headquarters.
Yep.
Or the newer location. I wouldn't say it's new because it's
Been
not,
around for a minute.
but it's newer.
Yeah, it's newer.
Yeah, over.
Well, it's-
I guess they opened around Christmas time.
Yeah, I mean, they're both
right
very
after
cool.
New Year's.
Uh-huh. I would say that.
Yeah, 'cause I remember being in there when they were getting things done. I went in and played a test round on one of my days off.
Did you?
Last Christmas break? Yeah, yeah,
Played a test round, huh?
yeah. They invited me over, and I was like, sure.
Did you spend the night to finish it up?
No.
Did you get done before they closed?
Yeah,
You start what?
great.
First thing in the morning?
it only takes about an hour.
No, I mean the typical. I'm talking about you, not the typical golfer.
It took me about an hour.
About an hour?
I know you wanted it to be worse, but it wasn't.
You act like I'm rooting against you,
Well, you're not rooting for me.
but I'm not rooting against
Exactly.
you. There's a difference.
Exactly. All right. So we got that. One of the things, I don't want to make too much of this, and I don't think anybody that's talked about it does either, but it's now become a story of the day and maybe of the week when it comes to Carolina Vanderbilt. I know David Cloninger has a piece on it. I retweeted David's piece and put my own thoughts. J.D. Piquel on his show today made mention of it too, and that's that in a podcast earlier this summer, Vandy quarterback Diego Pavia said that of all 12 games circled on the schedule, it was game 3. He didn't say South Carolina in Columbia. He didn't say the Gamecocks. He didn't say Lenoris. He didn't say Shane. He didn't say Dillon. He just said game 3. And I asked, look, I don't know. So I'm not here. I don't want to be, I'm not that guy. I'm not Mr. Hot Take. Again, those of you who've been with me a long time know I'm not that guy. I am here for the story, and there is a story here.
Yes, there is.
But one of the things I asked Terry is, look, is that, I said the first thing, is that a slap at Carolina? I mean, when you've got Alabama in Tuscaloosa, when you've got Tennessee, your hated in-state rival, amongst your schedule, what is it about South Carolina?
To me, I think it's a compliment.
Well, and I had somebody
that's
hit
where
me
I'm
and
at.
say it's
I
a
think
compliment.
And
And it could just be the conference opener. There could be a host of things.
It could be a lot of stuff, but that's boring. Let's go to juicy. Let's just go juicy thoughts.
Okay.
Okay, number one, who pummeled him physically last year in Nashville?
South Carolina.
Remember, he couldn't finish the game.
Yeah. And he still scored their only touchdown on a nice play.
But that was it,
And
man.
that was it. You know, I was going to go like, they had that one play, and it was all him.
The South Carolina defense last year shut that.
I know that
shut
was
him
it.
down. That was it.
But I was like, man, the kid got his.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, Diego Pavia. I mean, Lenora Sellers has gotten a ton of love. Tons of love. And maybe Diego Pavia looks at the numbers and says, some of my numbers are just as good as that guy. I get no love. So maybe there's it's really not the quarterback versus quarterback is always, it's the ultimate team game, and the quarterback doesn't play against the other quarterback. He plays against the opposing defense. But maybe Pavia is like, he looks at Sellers and all this publicity Lenoris has gotten and all this, all SEC this and, Heisman that. And Pavia's like sitting there going, well, look at some of my numbers, bro. I mean, look at some of the stuff I've accomplished here, man. I mean, how about you guys forget about Alabama?
Right.
You forget about what I've done. You forget about what this program was before old Diego Baby showed up here in Nashville. They hadn't won in forever. Maybe some of that is, too, the chip on his shoulder he carries. Because let's face it, Diego Pavia's not going to win a 40-yard dash contest, a vertical leap contest, a shuttle run contest. He's not going to go to the combine and bench a house 400 times. He's not going to play in the NFL. But here's what he's done. He's been a hell of a college quarterback, right?
Right.
And what he's done at Vanderbilt has changed the culture there.
It's elevated them, yes.
And he's done it with this chip, like the size of,
Mount Rushmore?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
So maybe part of that chip.
I don't know what the tallest mountain in Tennessee is, so I just came up with something like that.
I was trying to think of something.
I'll
really
find
quick
out.
in
I'll find. I
Tennessee.
don't know what the I know the tallest.
Dollywood, the size of Dollywood.
Well, there's big mountains out
There
that
you
way.
go.
I will find one. I don't know. Somebody out there knows the tallest peak in Tennessee.
Maybe the chip is A, what happened last year when they played South Carolina, or B, measuring himself against a guy who is getting, all of this recognition. Because remember, like Michael Jordan always made up chips.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Jordan admits now, some of that stuff I just made up so I could get all lathered up.
Well, here's my tweet. I said, again, I retweeted David Cloninger piece about Diego's quote. I said, is this actually a slap at Carolina? Question. A nod to the current pecking order? Question. A chance at redemption, which maybe is one of your things. Question. I said, it's hard to tell, but with Bama and Tennessee also on their schedule, it's certainly an interesting storyline. And I'm not here to say that you shouldn't respect South Carolina. I'm not really sure. And he didn't explain it. And that's one of the things. Look, I love a lot of podcasts, and I can't even remember I've not watched the podcast that he did it on. But that's sometimes why, like when it's player podcasts and stuff, they don't. Like, well, why would you say that? Like, whereas a journalist may follow up with, well, why?
Yeah, why is it?
I mean, you can say it, but
a lot of times,
tell me why.
Podcasts are like fanboys.
Yeah.
In some way, sometimes.
Yeah.
I just feel like with that guy, again, I don't know either, with that guy saying that, there's got to be a reason for the chip. He just doesn't say things to give you a nice hug. The way he said it makes me feel like either A, I got some payback for those guys for what they did to me in Nashville. Right. Or B, I'm going to compare myself to this quarterback everybody's making a big deal about, but some of my numbers are just as good as his.
Well, so I'll ask this now, and I want all of you to think about it. You included, sir, and then on the other side we'll talk more about this. How should Carolina take it? That's my question. How,
or should they take it at all?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, then that could be an answer. Well, but just how should they take it? And the answer may be they shouldn't. I don't know. But think of that. And hit us up. 803-404-6100. You can hit me on Twitter at jphillips1075. And we do have, I'll call it hot seat start bench drop. It's a revised in-season start bench drop.
Alrighty.
I wonder if you guys can guess the three choices before I give them to you on the other side of the break. So there's another thought exercise for you.
Man, you're hurting our head, Jay.
That's what I'm here for. Hale McGranahan coming up 15, 20 minutes. Lots more to do on a Wednesday postgame show. Guys, you're not feeling like yourself these days. Things just aren't working the way they used to in a lot of different areas. Well, it might be time to go see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the men's clinic. You'll get a one-on-one consultation that gets to the root of those issues. What isn't happening for you? What was in the past? What isn't today? Bedroom, boardroom, weight room, whatever room, all right? There's just, brain fog. There are a lot of things, and it happens. It doesn't mean you have to like it, but it also means you shouldn't ignore it. And don't be embarrassed about it. There are certainly issues that guys just don't want to talk about, but you can talk about it with real medical professionals, and that's who you deal with at the men's clinic. You get to feeling better after you see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team. There are one-on-one consultations. There's no one-size-fits-all. No magic pills, just terrific medical care. 803-875-MENS. Feel better with the men's clinic. All right, welcome back in. 20 minutes after 3 o'clock here on a Wednesday afternoon. Jay and Terry with you. Hale McGranahan coming up in a bit. Zach is on the line, wants to talk about the question that I just asked, and that is, listen, I'm not Mr. Let's turn something into, a big, let's turn a spark into a bonfire. I'm not here for that, but I honestly had forgotten, because I remember the story in the summer when Diego Pavia said that.
Yeah.
And I honestly had forgotten until I saw David's tweet this morning. I just, because I'm not, because I'm not that guy.
I'm not either.
You know, I'm here for stories, but
Yeah.
I'm not here for, not that this is salacious, but I'm not here for some of that. But it really, honestly, it got me thinking, like, what's he going for? And there, again, that's why I'm kind of, again, I don't know this podcast, but why would you not follow up? Again, that right. To me, like, if you're going to do these things and you're going to have interviews with people and they say something that sparks interest, you know, then follow up. It's kind of like, I know it's not the same, Terry, but like, remember in algebra class, like, I know the answer's right. Did you show your work? Well, no, I don't need to. I know the answer's right. No, you got to show your work.
Show your work.
So, I mean, hey, Diego, okay, cool. Like, nobody's going to say, well, how could you say that about South Carolina? Why did you say that about South Carolina? To me,
it's just, and you brought up from a journalistic angle, I think just from an interviewer angle or just from the angle of natural conversation. If you looked at me and you and I were just shooting the crap, right? And we're just sitting somewhere, and we're talking about some situation, and you specifically point out something in that conversation, like Diego Pavia did. If you and I were just talking like dudes, I'm going to go, why are you thinking that, man?
Right, yeah. And you and I know this, and plenty of you do this in your lives, whether you're in our job or not. But when we have a guest, especially someone who may be not a regular guest, a special guest.
Right.
A lot of times what we'll say is, hey, we'll outline, the things we'd like to ask. But it may well be that during the course of the conversation, this person gives us an answer that leads us to another question or something that we don't have in mind. So you don't want to script it. But there again, that's a follow-up, like that. Instead of just like, yeah, man, I'm ready to go beat those guys. Again, he's got his reasons. And I'm not saying he shouldn't be doing this. That's why I say I don't want to make too much of this. My question is, why? So what do y'all think? And I said, and then the question I have, it's partly rhetorical, I suppose. What or how, I suppose, how should Carolina respond to this? So that's one of the things we're asking. Let's see. Zach wants to weigh in on it. He is up on the AAA phone lines. Hey, Zach, how are you?
Zach.
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man.
Doing all right, bro.
Good. So as far as this situation is concerned with Diego Pavia, I think as far as the amount of athleticism and speed that our defensive players have, especially the ones that get after the quarterback or, defend against the option, stuff like that, I think it should definitely be in their minds what Diego has not necessarily said, because it wasn't necessarily towards them, but, his attitude going into the game. Because I do think it will be extra fuel. Now, I'm not saying we need to go out there and get flagged for 15 yards every 5 minutes, but, definitely use it to get after him, because in a sense, he's calling them out. And we got some dogs on that defense. Now, as far as the offense, I think they should just ignore it and just move on, because we saw last week the only decent signs of offense that we had was when they weren't really thinking about anything. They were just kind of running tempo and just moving things along. But as far as the guys that are in the game plan that are supposed to get after the quarterback or even spy the quarterback, absolutely, I think they should use what he said as fuel.
Yeah, I mean, and Zach, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I think so to some degree. Maybe do players know more of what other players are thinking if it's not? Because you mentioned, and I had somebody hit me and say, I think it's a compliment.
No, I do too.
Okay, in the sense that I got something to prove against those people, and that's a thing.
Because if anything, to me, just the stuff we know about Pavia, it's either I want revenge or I want to show you compared to this, because you measure, look, if you're a quarterback, look, any position, you measure yourself with the opposition at times, right?
Yeah.
And if a guy, if you are playing against Lenore Sellers, after all of the hype and love that Lenore has gotten since the end of last year, and you're a Pavia, that's motivation, right? And so I think it's either I want to get even for the whooping you guys gave me in Nashville, or B, I want to measure myself up against your quarterback that everybody's talking so great about. All right, well, I'm coming. I got something too. I feel like, and I could be totally wrong, he might just like Columbia. He might like 5 Points, the Vista. He just might like to hang out. like the zoo. I don't know. But I feel like with Pavia, it's one of those roads because he needs the motivation. Remember, this is the guy that peed on New Mexico's emblem, remember?
Yeah.
And got suspended.
Yeah.
This is a guy that's looking for stuff all the time to get himself jacked.
Is that frowned upon?
I didn't say it was frowned upon. I wouldn't have suspended him. I mean, sometimes you got to go. You got to go, right?
I don't want anybody around here to think I'm thinking Carolina isn't worthy of this because Carolina did dominate that game.
Absolutely.
But I feel like, bro, we beat Alabama when they were number one.
Mm-hmm.
So the game I'm going to circle is I want to go tell Alabama. I mean, now is that stupid? We thought Tommy Castellanos was stupid.
Hey, how'd that go?
It went well.
It went really well for Tommy. We changed his name from Thomas to Tommy. That was the key. Here's the thing. Honestly, I think maybe in Diego Pavi's mind, I checked that box. I beat Bama, baby.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did anyone, and I have to think about this because off the top of my head from last year, did any defense give Diego Pavia the beatdown that South Carolina's did?
No,
I don't think anyone
and
did.
That's probably where we are with this because they did. Again, we talked about it earlier this week because this is the lowest, the smallest spread in this series since COVID. And that's as far back as I could go in the research. I could go back farther, but I went to Phil Steele, and Phil has the last 5 years.
Right.
And there were 2 6s in Nashville, like 2 13s in Columbia, and this one's 5.5 in Columbia.
In Columbia.
So, yeah, last year Carolina, I don't want to say that was their best game, but if you look at it on a pound for pound kind of way, it was certainly one of the 2 or 3 best games. Because again, Vandy did nothing, and again, that's why I was so impressed when the kid scored his touchdown.
And that was it, man. And that's all Vandy did in the whole game. And Pavia was hit, he was pressured, he was sacked, he was beaten up. He came out of the game in the fourth quarter because he got hurt. I mean, that was a physical curb stomping.
Yeah.
that South Carolina gave the Vanderbilt offense.
And so that's probably it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to be overly critical of podcasters that don't know how to ask good questions, but that's a hey man, you got to tell me why.
Well, and that's typically you sit there and you go, okay, why?
Yeah.
Because that's your first thought. Like we've been
especially
trained.
if you don't, especially because that again, my logic would take me to a Vanderbilt player that beat number 1 Alabama. Either I want to go do that again,
in Tuscaloosa,
or we hate Tennessee. And maybe there's another one in there somewhere.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think if you're me, my thought was, well, that's a compliment to South Carolina because a kid like that, if he's got you circled, it's because he wants to get even with you or show you something.
Well, then I'll keep asking.
That's how I feel.
And y'all can hit us up. You know, how should Carolina respond?
Now,
to
do
that?
you take it that way? How do you take it?
I'm not sure. That's why I put 3 options on my tweet. I want to have this discussion so I can actually.
What's the first thing that came to your head before you started thinking about it?
I thought it might have been a little bit of a slap.
Okay.
Which is probably why I put that first. Like, really? Carolina? And not in a bad way to Carolina, but like, bro, you don't want to go prove it in Tuscaloosa? Like, that's not the one? Like,
you'd rather prove it here.
I guess so. And that's, again, good for
How about
Carolina.
that?
Good. I'm not.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Real quick, and then we'll call Hale and get him on the phone. But today's Start Bench Drop, hot seat edition now that the season has started. Whose seat is the hottest? Start Bench Drop these guys. Kalen DeBoer. Mike Gundy.
Oh, good one.
Billy Napier. Did y'all get him right, by the way, for those of you who were guessing at home as to who the choices would be? DeBoer, Gundy, Napier, Start Bench Drop. They're all on hot seats. Hale McGranahan, not on a hot seat. He's just covering Carolina football the old-fashioned way. He'll join us on the other side as the postgame show rolls on. Listen, there are a lot of you that enjoy your swimming pool pretty much all year long, right? Especially if it's heated, but you can swim not all year, but almost all year around these parts, right? But maybe it's time to get that pool fixed up as you head into the off season. Griffin Pools and Spas has been doing this and so much more since they were founded back in 1976 by the late, great Stan Griffin. The family still owns Griffin Pools and Spas to this very day, ready to help you out with pool and spa repairs. Things hadn't been going so well this summer. Equipment upgrades, maybe that pump and filter system kind of keeping the water cloudy, and maybe it's just old. Maybe it's loud. Maybe it's time for something better. Got a vinyl pool, time to get that liner replaced. It's a little faded out from the sun, the chemicals through the years. Safety covers and covers for the weather. All you need, they've got it for you. 957-2121, steps away from the Lake Murray Dam, and always online at griffinpoolsandspas.com. Welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on here on a Wednesday. Jay and Terry with you. Jumping on the guest line right now to talk to our good friend Hale McGranahan on the beat covering the Gamecocks for thebigspur.com. Always appreciate you, sir. How are you?
Doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you. Conference play is here. I'd love to get your thoughts on the Diego Pavia thing, but time may not permit. I do want to start you, in all seriousness, though, Hale, with Mike Shula today, because, and I'll let you set up maybe better for us how the question was posed to him, but it had to do with maybe a discussion of Lenoris. I don't know if he was asking for, wanting more carries, but what did you gather from that question and answer today in terms of where this Gamecock offense is as we speak?
Well, the question, I believe, was asked as a result of something Tony Morrell reported on the Big Spur yesterday, I guess it would have been. And I guess Tony reported that he was hearing how Lenoris had approached Shula about wanting to get the ball more on some designed runs. And when Shula was asked today about it, he said, yeah, it's going to happen each week. Quarterback's going to talk to him about things that he wants to do, things that he feels comfortable with. So whether or not that was directly how it was asked or what the answer is going to be from Shula on Saturday night, I think we can all agree that the more often that Lenoris Sellers can have the ball in his hands when it matters the most, whether it's third down or late in the game, it's probably going to end up being a good thing.
Have you and others on the beat, especially maybe in post-game atmospheres, gotten an indication, not that Lenoris is upset, but that this is mostly, if not entirely, a byproduct of just furthering his development as a passer, and it's been, at least in the short term, Hale, at the sake of the run game from Lenoris' individual perspective?
After the Virginia Tech game, I certainly didn't think Lenoris was upset. I mean, they won and they did some good things offensively for all the, I guess, hemming and hawing there's been by some folks over the last few days about offensive struggles. They did some good things in that first game, running and throwing the ball, mostly throwing. But and then as far as the South Carolina State game, I did not stick around for players in that. I stepped out of the room to write a story real quick for Beamer's thing. So I wasn't in there listening to Lenoris, but I read what he said, and I'd have to go back and look at the video to see if I could try to gauge his emotion, I guess. But, I think that South Carolina State game is just one that nobody really played well on that side of the ball for the first quarter and a half or so. So whatever the answer is to the question you just asked, I'm not sure if I'm getting there, but to me, I think it boils down to, like, he's got to play better, and a lot of other guys on that side of the ball have to play better as well. Running backs, quarterbacks, receivers, offensive linemen, tight ends, a little bit of everybody's, I guess, at fault, like you could say.
Hale, did you hear Casey Henry's comments about communication? I thought Casey Henry was quite honest. And when he was talking about one of the biggest problems they're having is communication, whether it's between Lenoris and Boaz Stanley and the offensive line or the plays coming in. What did you make of what Casey Henry was talking about yesterday?
Yeah, I was in there when he said that, and Lenoris sort of answered that question on Saturday night after the game when he said, I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, but it was something along the lines of, like, hey, I've got to speak a little more clearly and enunciate and be louder and say the play call so guys can understand it. And so I think that's something that maybe some people can lose perspective on. Like, when you're in a huddle and you're a quarterback saying the play to the other guys in the huddle with you, you've got to be able to say it clearly enough for everyone to hear it. And whether you're at home where it's theoretically shouldn't be that loud or on the road where it could be very loud, you've got to make sure everybody knows what you're saying and is on the same page. So I think just that simple little thing, maybe some of the reaction to what Kaysen said yesterday is maybe gotten a little blown out of proportion, because it can be as simple as that. If Lenoris is having to give a play call that's 5, 6, 7, 8 words, however long the play call is, maybe some guys don't always hear things, and that's really that's up to him to make sure everybody can hear him at the end of the day.
Talking to Hale McGranahan of the Big Spur, Carolina Vandy, Saturday night at 7:45. What stood out today from Clayton White's press conference? So we know that even if they're nagging types, that some injuries maybe are beginning to mount. What level of concern did you recognize today?
He was pretty quiet about disclosing anything, as most assistant coaches are. They typically want to leave that up to the head coach as best they can, and with the SEC doing its weekly, or not weekly, but daily injury updates starting on Wednesday, we'll get a better sense of what Clayton may or may not have to work with as far as the guys who have gotten banged up these last 2 weeks, and there are a bunch. So I would imagine that's probably made him and whoever else on that defensive coaching staff maybe a little uneasy when you've got all those guys in the secondary banged up in the first 2 games. And, we all already knew about the defensive ends before the season even started and how shorthanded they already were there. So I would imagine it's a little bit, probably a little bit frustrating for those guys to be in the position that they are right now. But, they adapt and adjust. That's part of their MO.
Hale, last thing for you. When it comes to the run game, again, going back to maybe some of the things Kaysen was saying, we've heard got to be more consistent. Just got to get on the same page, got to communicate better. Shane yesterday, as you know, said, listen, inside we don't feel nearly as uncomfortable. I'm paraphrasing now, the way that the fans or media might. But if the fan level of concern, and I know this is a hard question for you to answer, so I'll just let you kind of go with what your gut tells you. If the fan level of concern was a 7 out of 10, what's the team level when it comes to trying to get that run game established and thereby help everything else out offensively?
Probably not as high as that 7, but going into that game last week, that I got the sense here from Shane talk during that Tuesday press conference that they really wanted to be able to get the ground game going and establish things that way. So I would think there's some concern, maybe not even concern, but like some want to, like they really want to be able to run the ball, and they had trouble doing that at times in the first game, and obviously it did not go really well against South Carolina State. But when you're backed up inside your own 10-yard line for 3 drives to start the game, and you have 3 pre-snap penalties, and the first possession you have 3rd and 2, and you can't get any kind of a push, and you get stopped on 3rd down, like that's got to be really frustrating too for those guys. So I would imagine whether they're saying they're concerned or just frustrated with how it's played out, I do think that they still want to have that as a pretty important part of their offense, because it was pretty good last year, and they obviously had some success.
I got about a minute left for you. Honestly, man, your take on the Diego Pavia thing. I'm not trying to turn this into like some bonfire, as I mentioned, or throw gasoline on something. I can't tell if it's a compliment. I can't tell if it's a slam. I can't tell if it's just the conference opener. What do you think about Diego Pavia saying that this is the one he circled of all 12 of their games?
I think for him, it's probably, South Carolina went into Nashville last year and beat them pretty good and kind of turned their season upside down, really wrecked things for a little bit for them. So I think there's probably some motivation that way, in that they were rolling along and doing really well. Then South Carolina came in and set them back a little bit, and they struggled to close out the regular season. So I would guess that probably has a little something to do with it. And yeah, Jay, like you said, being the first SEC game, I mean, Vanderbilt has not beaten South Carolina in a very long time, and they've managed to pull off wins against other teams in the SEC since, 2008, 2007?
Eight's the last time they beat Carolina,
yeah. I mean, they beat Alabama last year, so
right.
They probably feel like, hey,
right.
It's South Carolina's turn. So certainly add some intrigue to it, that's for sure.
Good stuff as always, sir. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks, Hale.
That's our buddy Hale McGranahan. Check him out, bigspur.com. You're listening to the postgame show. How many of you realize that one of the nation's largest brick manufacturers is actually right here in the capital city of South Carolina? That company is U.S. Brick, and for nearly 90 years, they've been firing local clay, supplying the backbone for homes, schools, commercial projects locally and all across the nation, even landmarks like Fort Knox and the Empire State Building. That's pretty cool when you think about it, y'all. Today, they are a national player, but one of the few that has remained loyal to the home team. They're still American-owned, family-run, privately held, and backed by a team that's been making bricks longer than most builders have been in business. They are really just, listen, whatever the project might be, you're building your new home, build with brick. Make it last. Building a commercial project, even building a fire pit or other features in your backyard. Go see the brand new Design Center at 300 UG Street and check them out. Great folks at U.S. Brick. All right, welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on here on a Wednesday. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you. Terry's going to open the vault here in just a second. Thanks, as always, to Hale McGranahan. And, again, I'm asking, like I say, I don't know how people are reacting to the I guess, to those of us being updated, if you will, or reminded of is probably the better way to say it. Diego Pavia circling the Carolina game amongst the 12 that Vanderbilt will play. And Terry, you asked me earlier, what was my first thought? I don't know. I thought I'm going to go show South Carolina, and maybe the competitor in me would have said, I want to go prove it to Alabama. That's what I mentioned earlier. Yeah. I mean, because everybody would have said, well, you weren't supposed to go do that. Now, does it mean that you thought you were supposed to beat South Carolina? And maybe that's why I told you it might have in my head initially been kind of a slam relative to what you've said and what Hale has said to maybe alter my opinion. And I don't know that I had one formed yet. That's why I wanted to discuss it on the show. That was just the biggest beatdown that was put on him. And he wants to go show that they can't go do that again. I don't know. I don't want to be too flippant about this, y'all. I don't care all that much. I am interested in how the Gamecock football team takes this, or as you mentioned, Terry, do they care? I got a hunch that this gets mentioned in some way. Yeah, I mean, look, and again, in either way, if it's
aren't you looking for something?
Well, if it's a slam, then punk. Watch this. Or if it's a compliment of like, hey, they beat me, that I got to go prove to them. Well, don't let him prove it. Right. We'll you can compliment us further when we do it to you again. Something along those. I don't know. Somewhere in the middle, something different. I just, like I say, I think part of me too, because of what I do for a living and how long I've done it for a living. There's part of me is like, why didn't these guys interviewing him follow up? Well, that's always your first
maybe
I'm frustrated by that. It's like there's an easy way to get the answer. It's like, well, why you feel that way, bro?
Why I feel that way, man?
This isn't,
So. Drop that for us. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
But you and Hale, seem to believe that it's more complimentary of the fact that Carolina. And again, we
this
keep
game
saying
wouldn't
that.
have been circled if Pavia throws for 350 and 4 scores and Vanderbilt wins last year.
Well, if they win, certainly. But what if they win, or what if Carolina wins by 3?
I don't know. See, that's the answer you can't give with
Because
that guy.
Carolina won
he
by
could want
21.
revenge then. Let's say they kick a field goal and beat him at the gun.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants revenge for that.
Yeah. Well, Carolina won by 21, but it did feel it may as well have been 121
It
because
felt
Vandy
like
had
that.
no chance.
They had no chance. As that game went along, you could have given them 8 downs.
Yeah.
And they couldn't have gotten the first
Carolina
down.
was just so good that night.
That
I do
defense
remember
was
that.
popping.
That's why I'm saying. I mean, look, the Clemson win was, I'm certain, was more fun than beating Vanderbilt and dominating A&M and the comeback against Missouri. Hey, I get all of those things. But I just, there's a lot of me that says the most dominant win that South Carolina had last year was in Nashville.
Oh, they punched Vandy hard. Absolutely.
And you might say it's not all that hard to do that, but at the time.
Last year, man, and like Hale said, that kind of turned their season because everything went into crapper.
Yeah.
Got a great vault for you, man.
Oh, good.
Time to open the vault. Sponsored by Purple Wave Auction. It's the post-game show on the Game Network.
This day in 1972.
Well, confusion reigns, but the United States still, they have that 1-point lead, 50-49, as a result of 2 pressure-packed foul shots by Doug Collins of Illinois State. Now the clock shows 3 seconds. There is time for the Russians to go to their big man, Alexander Belov. They're going to try. Alexander Belov between 2 American defenders.
Yeah, and they reran it 2 or 3 times. The officials got involved. There was a mass ugliness. The U.S. basically got screwed. The players turned down the silver medal. I mean, the gold medal. They turned down the silver medal. The U.S. turned down the silver medal. First time the U.S. had ever lost in hoops in the Olympics in that game.
I've told you before, I've been able to interview Kevin Joyce about that, the former Gamecock who was on that team.
He was on that team, yep.
He lives in Utah now, and he is amongst those who not only have turned down that silver medal, but I believe Kevin said that he is one who put it in his will that his family can't accept it.
Yeah, it's
but there are several of those guys.
Yeah, they felt the screw job.
It's the biggest screw job in sports history.
If you watch it now and you see the Soviet officials going to the scores table,
and you read about it, and then get that British guy that was in charge of FIBA, and the
whole thing's insane.
Like you can't. You're not an official, dude. You can't. It's and the IOC to this day is just like, yeah, we don't really know what to do about it.
Right, exactly.
But the silver medals are here if you want them.
This day in 1972.
I'd go ahead and melt them. Hour 2 coming up. Integrated Media, ready to make your football season, your holiday season. Yeah, it's going to be here before you know it. Every season, whatever you watch, whatever you listen to, better than ever. And it's not just watching and listening, because Integrated Media can also help you out when it comes to your security system, your thermostat, your lights. They can put video cameras up all over the place for you for extra security, and you can control all of them with one app, the Control 4 app, which I have and love. Right on your phone or tablet. As long as you got an internet connection, you can get it done. You could, check this out. You could leave the house, right? Turn the thermostat up or down, depending on the time of year. And then right before you leave the office, punch a few buttons. You could turn on some lights. You can turn up the thermostat and make it nice and comfortable. You can even turn on some music. And when you walk home, it's like you never left. Isn't that awesome? Indoors, outdoors, one room, whole house. They're ready to make it happen for you. 803-948-8327. That's Integrated Media. 4 o'clock on this Wednesday. Sometimes I have to stop myself from wanting to do the voice. So I'm not going to do it this time. I really want to, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to this time.
Look at your self-restraint and professionalism.
I had to. Because I'll just keep doing it. And then I'll want to talk about Saturday Night Live, and I'll want to just, do that kind of stuff. And it's really hard.
I give you credit.
Really
Look
hard.
at you.
It's
You can almost physically, if you see it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, the live stream, you can see
You can.
how you're
You
fighting
probably
this.
can. I have told you before that there are times, be they funny, serious, whatever. I know that my body language is a giveaway. I'd be a terrible professional poker player.
Oh, you'd suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I know that. So I'm not here to go like you get
it.
I would not be a good poker player. If I was dealt, like a straight, I'd be like,
right, your face all light up.
They're like, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, I was just thinking of something real quick.
I was just laughing.
I got 3 kings on the deal. Like, yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah, you wouldn't be very good at that.
Yeah.
You would stink. There's no doubt.
But again, know your limitations, right? Knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, welcome back in. Alongside Terry Ford. I'm a very self-aware Jay Phillips. By the way, I haven't even seen the trailer yet. I totally forgot they were doing this, and I feel mad because I absolutely love the original. But do you know that the Spinal Tap sequel is coming out in a couple of weeks, I think?
How cool is that?
Well, I hope it's – I mean, listen, they have so much to live up to, and that created like that mockumentary. That was it. And – if you've never, those of you listening, if you've seen This Is Spinal Tap, and I know some people don't find it as funny as others, and I know some people are like me and believe it to be
I think it's hilarious.
One of the most genius comedic films ever made. But that's just it. It is such a high bar, and these listen. All 4 of the main characters, Rob Reiner and Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer are all just. They're brilliant. They're brilliant comedic actors and writers too. They can all. That's just.
Yeah.
They're probably all better writers than they are.
Oh,
actors.
I would say, yeah.
And their acting is off the charts, right? Like, seriously, they're like 10 out of 10 writers and 9 out of 10 actors. And I mean, both with high compliments. But I mean, it's almost like, please be great.
Yeah, because you don't want this to be like, Hangover 2.
Right.
Caddyshack 2.
Well, certainly not Caddyshack 2. Listen, I mean, Hangover 2 is Godfather 2 compared to Listen, there is no sequel worse than
Caddyshack 2 is awful.
It's just,
it's
again,
awful.
so it can't be that bad. But if it is, then that's just, and I just can't possibly imagine that they would have done it and then watched it and then go, you know what, boys? Because I think when Caddyshack 2 came out, they were like, we don't care how bad this is. It's just, we're going to sell tickets.
And the sad part of that was, most of the main dudes said, we're going to pass. Now, I don't know if they saw the script and said,
they did.
No thanks.
I think Bill Murray and Chevy Chase admitted, we're not doing it.
No thanks. We're not good. And of course, Dan Aykroyd went,
I don't even think that Harold Ramis wasn't even involved behind the scenes.
No, not in the second one.
I think they just
money grab.
Yeah, they just took the name and put a 2 next to it.
Yeah, and then they did with it with Jackie Mason.
Jackie Mason was terrible. Diane Lane. Diane Cannon.
Yeah, Diane Cannon.
Diane Cannon. Sorry, Diane Lane.
Yeah, we apologize, Diane Lane, for that. You had Aykroyd.
And then Aykroyd's, again, that's the worst thing Aykroyd ever did. Yeah. Anyway, I hope Spinal Tap 2, it doesn't have to be as good as the first.
No.
But I need it to, I need it to be a solid 80% as good. Is that fair?
If it's solid,
I don't want it to be
average.
50%.
No, it's got to be solid.
Yeah, I need like 80%. But the thing is, maybe waiting 40 years. I saw somebody say, did they need to wait 40? I saw it on Twitter today. And I was like, well, maybe that's just it. Because
that might be the hook.
Because so many bands now, and look, the Stones, listen, y'all, seriously, and if you've seen the Stones recently enough, then the Stones still sound awesome.
The thing is, all these other bands that go out and 30 years later, 40 years later, they're still out, and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I get you. I understand why you're doing it, but wow.
Well,
you know.
I'll tell you. Here's one real quick. My wife and I last spring, so it's been a little over a year ago, went to see the Doobie Brothers down at the Tennis Center in Charleston, and I'm a huge Doobie Brothers fan.
Yeah, Doobies are
now,
good.
Tom
man.
Johnson was he had like a back injury, and so he wasn't there. It was still a really good show, right? But there's 10, 12,000 people, and I'm gonna sound like I'm being kind of a jerk here. They were all sitting down, like that's who you're playing to now.
Right.
And I know I'm in my 50s, right? But I'm like, y'all, we ain't at church. It's the Doobie Brothers.
Right. Well, that's what happens.
And then finally at the end, they're playing like Long Train Running and so, a couple others and listen to the music, and everybody finally stands up for like the encore. And I'm like, y'all been sitting down for an hour and a half.
Well, it is like the band's 30 years older, their fans are 30 years older.
And that's so. I guess that's sort of it. But maybe that's going to be
that's the hook
thing
of
for
this
Spinal
thing
Tap.
is Spinal Tap's 40 years older. And they're still out there playing, right?
And like
there's a lot of good jokes there.
Yeah, like now you got and I like one of the funniest songs like Big Bottoms. Like you're going to be playing Big Bottoms.
Yeah,
in front of
exactly. And your fans are 40 years older, and how are their bottoms?
I don't know.
It could be a lot. Hey, there's a lot there.
Yeah,
The
I hope it's
potential.
good.
I do too.
I hope it's good.
I do too.
Today's start bench drop, as I say on Twitter, a revised in-season college football coach hot seat edition. Kalen DeBoer, although, again, does this 73-0 pasting of Monroe make up for the FSU loss?
No.
Of course, the answer is no.
No.
Mike Gundy,
No.
who, again, as Terry and I said, if you had Oklahoma State plus 65, you would still have lost.
Wow. Wrap that in your head for a minute.
And Billy Napier. So
You know yours already?
no, I don't know. I know who I'm dropping.
Yeah.
I know my drop. I'll just tell y'all, my drop is DeBoer.
Yes, my drop's going
My
to be
drop's
DeBoer. Oh,
DeBoer.
not because they beat Louisiana Monroe 100-0, but because Napier and Gundy said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
It's not like DeBoer is like, oh, everything's okay now. No, just what happened to Napier and Gundy, man.
I had somebody ask me yesterday because they heard me mention this. Was it yesterday or the day before that I said it? I can't remember. I had somebody ask me yesterday about, must have been Monday that I said this, about Napier. Yeah, it was Monday. And I said they should have gone ahead. And I told you they should have gone ahead and done it. And I do realize that Florida finished strong last year.
Well, that saved his job.
It did, but there's a caveat to me, and this is why I said that. Unlike, say, Will Muschamp, where things just kept going, because I made the analogy of like there was nothing in the 2019 season to suggest that Will Muschamp was going to be better in 2020, and you fired him halfway through. Or whenever it was, a 10-game schedule, but whenever it was that they fired Will and Bobo took over. Regardless, I realized that Florida did finish better, and you're right, it did save his job. But if you're Scott Strickland, you're still able, Terry, to do that step back 30,000-foot look,
Sure,
and go have the fundamental flaws left the program. And that's why my point in saying that, because they beat LSU, they beat Mississippi, obviously they beat Florida State, and they played well with Georgia. I'll give them that. They did. They played well with Georgia. But I would have probably realized, but Billy hasn't changed, and he's now maybe got a little, because I think some of the talk in the early part of the season was, listen, bud, you're going to need to make some changes. You're going to go through this year. And then Billy kind of said, see, I don't need to make changes. Well, now here we are again. I would have said it. I would have said at that point, if I'm Scott Strickland, I would have said, I've kind of got this thing now to where it's in better shape than it looks. I could make the change, go get somebody who's ready to come in and be kind of – I know that's easier said than done. But now, again, here we are with however many penalties. And, again, I know the kid that spit, whatever's going to happen to him, that could be sort of a nod to just how things are from a discipline or lack thereof perspective. But there's just, again, there's something that doesn't connect with Billy Napier and the Florida Gators.
And I don't disagree with you. I don't think Napier's. I don't think Napier's the long-term answer in Gainesville. And I like Billy Napier. I think he's a good coach. He just doesn't fit in Florida. But here's the thing. You said Scott Strickland to take that 30,000-foot view. I don't think he can. Here's why. Who hired Billy Napier?
Scott Strickland.
Who's been under fire for some of his coaching choices?
Right. The irony is Scott Strickland also hired Dan Mullen.
I know.
Twice.
I know. And then you think about this. Remember, you've had some issues with some Florida coaches. You did win a national title with your basketball coach, and that remember, he had an issue.
Yes.
That's been swept under the rug.
It is. They just don't talk about it.
So if you're Scott Strickland,
Which is, well.
yeah, you don't want to have if you fire Billy Napier, you're also admitting failure by the athletic director, who is who? You. Mm-hmm. You get that momentum at the end of the year, right? And if you're Scott Strickland, you're like, yes, I didn't make the wrong hire. Look at that momentum. Look at those wins. Look at those W's. Billy's got it in the right direction. Can't wait for next year. He's not looking 30. Dude, he's looking 30 feet.
You're right.
You follow what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And that's why the move doesn't get made, because you finally saw light at the end of the tunnel, and you hired this guy. And maybe personally you like him because he seems like a likable enough dude. So you want him to succeed. You hired him. So you're not looking and taking that step back at the big picture saying, okay, won some games at the end, but are we on the right track as a program? That's what you're trying to say. Mm-hmm. Strickland isn't looking like that. Strickland's saying, well, we won, what, 3-4 in a row at the end of the year. Oh, we're on the right path. I hired the right guy. Hey, give me the attaboys.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, to your point, nobody's took a step back to look at, okay, what's changed?
And I get why they didn't. I'm not saying, like I say, for me in my chair right now, it's much easier for me to say that than for an athletic director, especially with a big buyout.
Yeah, here's the thing, too, and obviously the buyout's a thing in the rev share world. The other part of it is, though, these are the kind of things that happen to you. And I get why Strickland kept Napier. But if you go 6-6 this year, and you got to can them, you just wasted a year. You spun your wheels. You didn't take a step back, like you said, and looked at the over. Because the easy things to keep them. Easy things to keep Napier coming off of that. The hard thing would have been to go, you know what? We've won some games in a row, but I don't think anything's changed. I got to pull the trigger. That's the hard thing to do.
And
if you know what I'm saying.
I don't think it gets better for them this weekend. In fact, I'm a little surprised. Do you know that? Have you seen the spread?
No, I haven't.
I say only, but it's 7.5. I honestly thought that going to Baton Rouge, and it may by Friday, it may go up.
Here's the thing to me, and I don't look, Vegas, they got a bunch of really smart guys with calculators and money. Florida is looked at in the analytic community or the nerd community a lot better than really their one-loss record or their achievements because of certain metrics.
Yeah.
And people will say this, oh, they got a lot of talent. And they do. But it just never computes together, man. And so, like you and I go, really, that's the line, that's it.
Yeah.
I'd take LSU right now in a heartbeat in that game.
I feel like LSU. Of course, I'm the guy who thought Alabama would go to Tallahassee.
I thought they whip them like a drum, same way, man. So, I mean, we'll see.
At least I know I'm not on that island by myself.
No, I was with. Well, you and Elijah and myself were all on that island together looking.
And I think
stupid.
a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Corso was the only one, and look at Lee.
So I guess that point, maybe that's why you see Florida under a touchdown dog.
Yeah.
I think the only guy in the country to pick Florida State was Lee. I don't think Norvell picked Florida State. Yeah. He was taking Alabama. But so
he called Brian Bohannon.
Hey, Brian.
Say, hey, place a bet for me when you go to the Reds game.
You don't have a job anymore.
If
what
you
the
know,
hell?
you know.
Help a brother out.
If you know, you know. I don't know how to get into it right now. All right. So anyway, that conversation, again, based on today's start bench drop early in season hot seat edition. Kalen DeBoer, Mike Gundy, Billy Napier. Those are your choices. Alphabetical order we give them to you in terms of hot seat start bench drop in the early goings here in college football. We'll come back with some results on Twitter or on the Firehouse Subs text line 404-6100. That's an 803-404-6100 to get that done for you. Lots more to do on the postgame show. You know, I can sit here and tell you how great Cato's power equipment is because they are, but you can also trust your friends and neighbors across the Midlands who have given them several 5-star Google reviews, and those reviews are what set Cato's apart. Great local family-owned business, terrific products from Gravely, Aaron, Steel. I've got so many great Toro products in my house now. Aspen for the professionals, you know, great for fuel to keep things going there too. They're family-owned, honest advice. They make sure you get exactly what you need. No pressure, and I mean that, y'all. They're just good people. They don't go in there. If you don't want to buy something, they're not going to force it on you. You know, I mean, they just, like I say, it's like going to a tailor to get your clothes. They're just great, honest folks. Customers call them amazing one-stop shop. Terrific delivery for bigger equipment. Great service department. Stop by and see them. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, and they're always online with the latest at catospowerequipment.com.
Quick check. Quick check on traffic. Construction, like usual, in the usual spots. I-20 and 26 between exit 64 and 65 Broad River Road. There's long-term construction. Also, I-26 between Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road. I-126 between Hughie and I-26. And Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. The bridge is still blocked because of bridge work.
I think probably the communication a little bit. Obviously, we're talking about that a lot, but also just locking in practice. We got to really practice a lot harder than I think we have been. And so that's just it starts in practice of us, because we can't go out on Saturday and then just randomly like, hey, we're going to turn it on. We got to turn it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, lock in everything on Friday, and then we can play a lot better on Saturday. So that's kind of what we got to start. It's starting today, tomorrow, Thursday is just practicing harder, communicating better.
Gamecock Center Boaz Stanley on the communication issues, and that seems to be theme number one for why, above all other facets at least, the run game has not been where it needs to be for this Gamecock football team. Welcome back in, Jay and Terry, with you. We'll get you a comment from Case and Henry as well. It's interesting, Terry, because in postgame on Saturday night, Lenore Sellers, and I'm paraphrasing, said, listen, we were a lot tighter and crisper in camp.
Yeah.
And it does make you wonder what hasn't happened. And again, we're talking, I mean, I'm again, a little bit of a smart aleck here. First world problems, you're 2-0, and you've won by 13 and by 28.
Right.
And you really, other than a few minutes, you really haven't been challenged yet this year.
No.
You know? So, I mean, in the bulk of the 120 minutes you played, what would you think? I mean, I don't think in any of those 120 minutes you've thought, oh, man, we're going to lose.
No, we're in trouble.
But maybe for 5 minutes or so against Virginia Tech, you're like, we need to stop them on this drive.
Oh, and that's when Dylan Stewart stood up and said, I will handle that. Yes, and you stopped them.
Right.
You know, the interesting part, and you're right, and that's the thing about this. You got to take a step back, like you're saying, the 30,000-foot view is you're 2-0. You really didn't feel like you were in danger in either one. But you also take a step back and go, okay, that's great. We'll take those two any day, but we know if we want to get where we want to go, certain things have to get better, right? And I think that's where, like, for example, if you won 38-10, and instead of two Vakari Swain punt returns for touchdowns, you had a Lenore Sellers long run for a touchdown, and either a Razul Faison touchdown run or a Mazio Bennett catch and run. You're feeling different about everything, right? You just are.
I told a buddy of mine today because he called me. He's not happy. He's not happy.
Yeah.
And I did say you're not wrong that I called them supplemental touchdowns. That you have 4 supplemental touchdowns.
Scoop and a score defensively and 3 punt returns.
So I said, I get it.
Yeah.
But I said, but they're still touchdowns.
Right.
And your guys made them.
And you're still 2-0. And I guess the idea is you know the pieces are there to get this going. It's not like you don't have the pieces. You just got to get the pieces to mesh. Now, the communication thing, it's interesting. It's been brought up. Is Lenore's telling the truth? Like, Duke, I got to quit mumbling and get louder. Is Lenore's doing what a leader does and falls on the sword? But all we know is the communication is an issue. You've got 3 different people now say it, right? And really 4 if you add Shane in there.
Yeah.
So you've heard about this. The one thing, listen to that, you talk about the run game. Here's a number for you, sir. Thanks to our buddy at SEC StatCat, who I don't know how he does. He never sleeps. He never sleeps. God love that man. South Carolina.
Do we know that's not David Dare, by the way?
No, that'd be about MILFs with guitars. It would be MILF's StatCat. It wouldn't be SEC StatCat. Just say it. You okay? You gonna be all right?
I'm fine. You go ahead.
According to David Dare at SEC StatsCat, South Carolina is averaging yards before contact, 0.71 yards. Not even 1 yard before contact. You gonna be okay?
Yeah.
All right.
What was the stat again?
Yards before. See, my whole premise here has been shot to hell. All right, yards before contact, according to SEC StatCat,
right?
0.71.
That's not good.
That's really, really not good.
That's not good.
I mean, I didn't get a chance to spin through the rest of the SEC, and I will do that either later today or tomorrow to see just where South Carolina ranks. My guess is going to be out of 16 teams, that might be 18th.
Oh, that'd be really bad.
Because basically, your guys are getting hit after they get the ball less than a yard before contact.
Yeah,
they're not getting much.
Let's go to one more on this, which was number 22, please, sir. This is Cason Henry, Gamecock right tackle. Obviously now one of the veteran presences, if you will, if that's the right way to say that, up front. Here he is on, again, the communication, but this is during the play.
We our kind of philosophy is called RCE, which is recognize, communicate, and execute. So when we see stunts or anything, we get a stunt cue. We get linebackers, different depths, anything we see like that, like a different technique or anything like that, or even front that might tell us these guys are going to twist or whatever. There's a lot that goes into that, but we're supposed to recognize it, communicate it with the guys, especially if I'm getting like a nickel off the edge. We got to go communicate that to all my other guys. We got to make a call and we got to execute. You know what I mean? So even in within the play, you make a go call if you're getting a T stun or whatever, you're on the man side. There's a bunch of stuff that goes into inner play communication, but the only thing that you can do to practice that is to rep it. You know what I mean? You have to do it in practice. You have to go over and over. You have to mess up. You have to fix it. You know what I mean? It takes a long time. That's why preseason's so long. That's why we practice so hard, is because offensive line is such a hard position to play.
So, sounds to me, in all seriousness, Boaz Stanley and Casey Henry both. These are veteran guys. Boaz, I know, just coming to Carolina, but was maybe one of, if not the best offensive lineman in the Sun Belt Conference. Casey Henry is now a bona fide starter in this conference.
In 2 games, Casey Henry has really improved.
Yeah,
he really
this year. And he started all 13 last year. So, I mean, again, he's coming along. They're admitting we're not practicing well enough. And we've got to practice better so that the things we do, because that's what football is, and we all know that. Unlike a lot of other sports where you just practice almost becomes baseball, right? Or going to play golf. Yeah, you can be out on the range, but the moment, or whatever. But football is all about practice the play over. And it's like we always talk about Tom Osborne. Good, do it again.
Right.
Good, do it again.
Yeah.
Good, do it again. And then on Saturday, it's muscle memory.
It's muscle memory.
And and maybe they're not quite, for whatever reasons, not quite there yet up front.
Yeah.
And that practicing better, but that's 2 veteran guys telling you this week, we got to practice better.
We got to do it better during the week so we're ready for it game day. And some of that, as you heard, was like pre-snap stuff. I recognize this, I see that, well, you see this and that. And those are things that you got to communicate. And, some of that stuff is, you see it in the film room and take it out on the field and you're looking for the recognition of what you've seen. All of that's just got to get better.
Right.
And, how much of that can coaches also get involved here and maybe streamline some stuff so the guys can get it better? All this goes hand in hand.
What is Sean Elliott's role as run game coordinator relative to what Lonnie Teasley is doing up front and how those messages blend? I think there's a lot of stuff that's there for these guys. We'll have more from Coach Beamer and the players as part of our Gamecock Notebook. All right, we're going to dip away from football for a second. Our terrific friends, obviously at Integrated Media and Pro Swing, been with us for a long time. They are going to give 2 of you, 1 person each here, a free fall membership to their league play at Pro Swing, either location, Chapin or Forest Acres. So here's what I need you guys to do. If you want this is a $350 value, by the way, and 2 of you are going to win. You need to call us now, 803-404-6100.
And let it ring.
Yeah, let it ring.
We'll get to you.
We'll get to you. All right? Just don't worry. Let it ring. And then I'm going to ask a trivia question on the other side.
We're going to ask it to you each as you get on the phone.
Yeah, and then you'll know, and then I'll explain all that when we come back.
Right.
But I'm going to ask the question and tell you how you have to answer, and the first 2 people that are the correct answerers, if that's the right way to say that?
It is now.
It is now.
It is now.
The correctly answer will get free membership for the fall leagues at Pro Swing.
It's like $700, man.
Yeah, $350 value. So and 2 of you. So 803-404-6100. Be patient, and we'll see who wins on the other side.
I'm sitting here staring at the CHW Cabinetry website and just looking at the interior products that they offer, Star and her folks. Obviously, cabinetry. Also, wood countertops. they offer. Closets, custom furniture. They do all sorts of things, gallery workstations, accessories, hardware. It's even more than just cabinets at CHW Cabinetry. Just call 803-520-6837. Talk to them about what you're looking to do, what your ideas are, your budget. They'll bring you in, sit down, talk further. And they do this great thing called photorealistic renderings. From beginning to end, you will see the process play itself out to your satisfaction. They make Jen Jensen happy, and no one does. 803-520-6837. Again, call CHW Cabinetry, 803-520-6837. Quick check on the roads. The usual construction going on right now. No accidents to report as of right now. The construction, in case you're new to the area, I-126 between Hugie and I-26. Also, I-20 and I-26 exit 64 at Broad River Road. I-26 Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road between those two exits, construction as well. And the bridge is still blocked. Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. They're working on that bridge still, and it is blocked. Going to get to you in just a matter of seconds here on the post-game show. See if you can get a chance to win a couple of memberships to Pro Swing Golf.
All right, welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you here on this Wednesday afternoon. Back to some football talk in just a few, but our friends at Pro Swing are starting up their fall indoor golf league here in a couple of weeks. And Nathan and Michael and Steven and the crew have offered up 2 free memberships, $350 value. We're going to give away 2. That's, so again, total of $700. But one of you will get a membership, and then another one of you will get a membership. Now, all of you on hold, Terry's answered. We got all 8 lines filled up. And here's how this is going to work. I'm going to ask a trivia question. I'm going to tell you right now that the trivia question has 4 answers, and I'll ask it in a second. What I want is for the first person, each of you that's playing, you're going to guess 2. Okay?
Makes sense.
And then when the first person gets 2 of them right, then there's going to be 2 answers left. And then, so the rest of you will not have, you can't say those first 2. So there's 4 answers. We're going to scratch 2 off. Whatever 2 get right, the other 2 will be the correct answers. So in other words, you can't just go, oh, I'll say
the same thing.
Those things. Yeah, you can't do it that way.
Got a bucket of 4.
Yeah, so there's 4. So somebody's going to get it right with 2. And if somebody gets if they guess 2 names and one of them's wrong, then we're just going to move to the next person and so on. So hope everybody understands, but you can't repeat names.
Nope.
So once we get it, and we'll tell you once somebody gets it right, we're like, ding, ding, ding. And then there will be
But if you got 1, we're not going to say that either.
No, not until we have 2.
Nope. You ready?
Okay, so here is the question.
Go for it.
There are 4 golfers that have been both the individual NCAA champion in college and have gone on to win the Masters. Who are those 4 men? Now, again, when I get you on the line and you'll hear it click, you give me 2 names. I need 2 from one person and the other 2 from the next. 4 golfers have been the individual NCAA champion in college and then gone on to win the Masters. And to be clear, this is not the U.S. Amateur Champion.
No.
This is the NCAA individual champion and then win the Masters. So
Ready?
Here we go. Who's up first?
Hello,
Who's this? They don't know.
Hello, you're on the game. Who's this? Hello? Off to a smashing start. Okay. Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
They can't hear either.
Hello? Hello? I can hear them just fine.
I can hear them.
Okay.
Line 3.
107.5 The Game. Hello? Oh, they hung up.
Hello?
There we go.
There
now
you
we
go.
got somebody. All right, who's this?
Ken.
Ken? All right,
Yeah,
Ken.
Ken.
All right, 4 correct answers. Can you give me the first 2 of them?
Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth.
No.
No, good try, though, Ken. We appreciate it.
No. All right.
107.5 The Game. Who's this? Hello? Hello?
No.
Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
This is Zach.
Hey, Zach. All right. Can you give me 2 of them?
Tiger Woods and Justin Thomas.
No.
No, but thank you for trying.
No.
We appreciate you, man. Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hey,
Can you
Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite.
No.
No.
All right.
Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
This is Chuck.
Hey, Chuck. Can you give me 2 of them?
One's pretty simple. One's Scotty Scheffler.
No.
No, but thanks for trying, Chuck. We appreciate it.
All right.
You think, in theory, it would be.
Yeah.
Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
One's pretty simple. This is Jeremy.
Hey, man. Who you got?
Hey, I got Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth.
No.
No. Thank you
No.
for calling, though.
All right.
Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
Yep, Troy.
Hey, Troy. Who you got?
Got Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson.
Yes. That's 2 of them. That's 2 of them. Way to go, Troy. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. That's the
There we
first
go.
2.
Troy, hold on. I just put you on hold.
Troy, you're going to be on hold. Don't hang up.
Don't
'cause
go
we
anywhere.
need info from you. We'll get it in a second. All right,
All right,
y'all.
here we
so
go.
that's 2.
So you can't
So you
say.
can't say Mickelson and Woods anymore.
There's 2 more.
All right. And you've heard some names and combinations. Just use your logic, but there are 2 more. out
One has
there.
not been said yet.
Correct.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
107.5 The Game. Who's this?
This is Courtney.
Hey, Courtney, what's up? Who you got?
All right. Well, I apologize. I've been calling in. I haven't heard any of the answers, but I think I know all 4.
Okay, well, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now so that you don't have to repeat anything. We just had a winner for the first one, say Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods, and those 2 are correct. So there are 2 left.
like I said, all right. Jack Nicklaus and Scotty Scheffler.
Oh,
No.
Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
This is Craig.
Hey, Craig. All right, who are the other two,
How are
Craig?
you? I haven't heard the first two because
The
I'm
first two are
watching on my
Mickelson
phone.
and Woods. Mickelson and Woods are the first two, so they're off the board.
So I need to name two.
Yep.
I'll take Spieth and Scheffler.
No.
No, thanks, though. We appreciate your call, man. All right, 107.5 The Game. Who's this? Hello? Hello?
Nope, they're not there. All right, we'll move on.
107.5 The Game. Hello, 107.5 The Game. Who's this?
Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. All
Y'all have the second winner yet?
Not have the second winner. Mickelson and Woods are off the board. Who are the other two?
Ben Crenshaw and Jack Nicklaus.
There it is.
There we go.
Well
Hold on,
done,
man.
sir. There it is, Charlie. Sit tight. Sit
There
tight.
we go.
Yes, Jack Nicklaus, Ben Crenshaw, Phil Mickelson, and Tiger Woods. Spieth and Thomas and Scheffler, all amazing golfers, but they did not win the individual NCAA championship. By the way, Ben Crenshaw, and somebody said Tom Kite. That's an excellent guess. Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite were teammates. They tied for the individual championship in 1972.
Didn't you say Crenshaw won three?
Crenshaw won three.
Yeah.
Ben
Three of those
Crenshaw won
babies.
3 NCAAs.
Well, you and I thought Kite was going to be on this list, too, in the beginning. And then it was like, no, he won the
Because he didn't win.
U.S.
Well,
Open.
he didn't win the Masters. He won the U.S.
Open.
And there was a lot of guys. And Scheffler was close. He was an amazing golfer at Texas, but he did not win the NCAA.
Nope.
So it's Nicklaus, Crenshaw, Mickelson, and Woods. So way to go, Troy. Way to go, Charlie.
Yeah.
You guys sit tight, and during the next commercial break, please don't hang up. All right, we need to we'll hit the break here in a second. And then we'll get all y'all's info, and you will be signed up for the Fall League at Pro Swing. Again, thanks to Steven, to Michael, to Nathan, and the entire crew for allowing us to do that. And again, ProSwingColumbia.com if you want to be part of it. I think they're approaching 300 courses to play on, and there's prizes for the league.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
You know, 10-week league. It's fun, man. It's good stuff. So have fun. But way to go, guys. Yeah, that's I don't really know how I came up with that one other than like, all right, let's just see. You know, just my mind started churning when I was like, I'll come up with something.
That was a good one. I give you props for that one.
Yeah, but
that was very interesting.
Yeah, Jack Nicklaus way back in the early 60s at Ohio State. Again, Ben Crenshaw at Texas. Phil
Obviously,
Mickelson.
Tiger at Stanford.
Tiger
and
at
Phil
Stanford.
at Arizona State,
That's right. Yeah. There you go. There you go. And interestingly enough, for whatever it may be worth, each of those guys ended up winning multiple Masters.
That's what you said. You go, all those guys won more than one.
Yeah. They were good.
Yeah, they were okay, huh?
Yeah. And there's plenty of guys that you've heard of that have won the NCAA championship.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
But didn't win the Masters.
And some, and some that just became decent golfers.
Yeah, that's all right.
And there's other major winners out there.
Yeah.
But good stuff. All right. So there you go. Way to go, Troy. Way to go, Charlie. Sit tight. Terry will get some info from you. We'll have more on Start, Bench, Drop. Again, hot seat edition based on the early goings this season. Kalen DeBoer, Mike Gundy, Billy Napier, who you starting, benching, and dropping on that one. And we'll do a little J or Nay as well. You're listening to the postgame show. All right, welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you here. The Pro Swing boys just hit me and said you picked a hard question. I suppose that, yeah. I mean, I wanted to make it, a $350 prize. I don't want to just go.
Caller number 7 and 8.
Yeah, I wanted to make it a little.
You think about it for a minute before we get to Jay or Nick. All right, Tiger feels like a no-brainer, right? Mickelson was a hell of a college golfer. Obviously, there was a ton of expectation on Mickelson as soon as he turned pro. I mean, he won right out at the gate.
Well, I think he
was an amateur,
he won a PGA event as an amateur.
As an amateur. So Mickelson, some folks would go, okay, I'll pick Phil.
Yeah.
The tough one is Crenshaw. Because if you aren't of that generation, or you're not a golf historian, you don't think of Ben Crenshaw at all.
And again, the irony to that is that of the 4 in terms of their college career,
3.
He won 3.
And then Nicklaus, obviously, if you start thinking old school, Nicklaus was a dominant golfer. So Crenshaw's the real tough one.
Yeah. But, and some of you, listen, Justin Leonard at Texas was the individual champion, but he has majors, but he doesn't have the Masters. And Jordan Spieth, that's a really good guess in the sense that he was on a national championship team. But again, the question was the individual NCAA champion, which Jordan Spieth was not. And then Scotty Scheffler was very good, but he also not an individual NCAA champion.
That was a good one.
So
that was a good one, man.
But way to go, Charlie and Troy.
Charlie and Troy got their info. We'll get it over to the Pro Swing folks, and they can get those cats set up.
That's right. All right, in the meantime, game show music.
All right, we got to get some game show music here. A little Jay or Nay, game show music here. I got 10 mice sitting here, man. Give me a minute. I swear, I'm telling you, I'm miced out.
We have a lot of start bench drop to get to as well. You want me to do a couple of those?
Yeah, start bench drop while I'm getting the game show.
All right, let's see. Franklin says start Sunbelt Billy.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people are calling him that of late. That's kind of a slam.
Oh, absolutely it is. No doubt.
That he's good at that level. But
he's good at that level, but you ain't...
he is. He's 20-20 at Florida and has a losing record in conference play and has a losing record against Power 4 opponents.
Yeah.
Bench Gundy, drop DeBoer. Andrew, on the other hand, start DeBoer.
Ooh.
Maybe because they're the least patient?
Yeah, I would say. And remember, that bar is higher than everybody else's bar.
Then
right?
he's going to bench Napier and drop Gundy. So, the thing about Gundy that's interesting here, Gundy, he's one of theirs. I mean, he was their quarterback. He was an assistant. He's been the head coach for 21 seasons.
Up until last year, I mean, the guy, they've never had the
10
success.
Games the year prior.
We looked this up. Tyler and I were looking this up yesterday. Mike Gundy has more double-digit win seasons than every other coach in Oklahoma State history put together.
Wow.
18 straight bowl appearances.
Yeah.
Problem with Gundy, he would tease you to get to a college football playoff or a Big 12 championship or whatever. Remember, they'd always just fall short. But Gundy's record compared to every other coach at Oklahoma State doesn't compare. I mean, Pat Jones had a double-digit win year, and then, maybe Les Miles had a little success, but no one, Jimmy Johnson a teeny bit, but no one has had the success that Gundy has. And some of that is
a weird drop-off.
And it's a stepping stone job to some of these guys, like Jimmy Johnson, Les Miles, whatever. Gundy's one of theirs and has stayed for almost 20 years.
Les Miles, and who's been there, he's been there ever since.
Yeah, I mean.
Gundy.
So.
Which is hard to believe that Les left 21 years ago for LSU.
I know. And so Gundy,
because that Saban fellow went to the Dolphins.
Yeah, whatever. And whatever happened to him after he got to Miami?
Yeah, he just retired.
So he just
Stephen Ross ran him out of the game.
He runs a commercial fishing boat. It's just the idea that Gundy for that program has been far and away so successful, but now last year was a disaster. All the belly aching all week long last week, and then Oregon dog walked you.
Yes.
And remember, Gundy gave back money at the end of last year.
Yes.
When they take money back from you, it doesn't mean you're
going to work for free next.
Exactly.
He's going to pay them.
It's just weird. So if you get rid of
him,
him,
going to fantasy camp.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of. Well, But here's the thing. Do you just real quick? Then we'll run out of time. We'll talk about this later.
Okay.
Let's get the J or
Yeah,
Nay.
let's
We're
do
gonna run
that.
it. We can riff on
If I don't
this
get my
for a
game show music fixed, man, I can't do the rest of the show.
I know. There we go.
There it is. Now I feel better.
J or Nay?
Yes.
Bill Belichick is being an immature child by keeping the Patriots off the UNC campus because according to Bill, the Patriots won't let him in the building.
J. What a dumb thing to do to your players. What a bad thing to do to your players.
You're putting yourself ahead of your players.
It's
yes.
You know. And by the way, way to go, Mike Vrabel, to go. No, he's welcome here. We don't care. Way to be the bigger man, Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bill Belichick, whatever. I'm so.
And Vrabel played for who?
Yeah, for Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm done with Belichick. Or on to the next guy.
You know what? I really don't want to move on now because that was really good.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Anthony Rizzo is retiring as a Cub, played 14 years in the majors. Yeah. Anthony Rizzo, just Hall of very good?
Yeah, he's not Hall of Fame. It's going to be close. I think he's going to be one of those guys. Could ultimately get in. I mean, look, I keep saying, if Harold Baines is in, then a lot of guys are going to get in, except Dale Murphy, apparently. Hall of very, very good to me, because baseball has a high bar.
All right, J or Nay? The new transfer portal idea coming from the NCAA. SEC coaches support it. Ryan Day of Ohio State doesn't support it. J or Nay on the new portal idea?
I don't like it. I think it's at a bad spot on the literal calendar because so many schools start that first, like say at the beginning of the second week of January. So I'm nay on that.
I just think, how can you start a portal when some of your teams are still playing?
And teams are still playing. The season is not over, even if it's only 4. And again, they say it will start basically at the end of the quarterfinals. Okay, so 4 schools are left. That's roughly 400 players, all of whom would technically, well, not all, but the majority of whom would be technically eligible to enter the portal. And they could enter it and still come back, I suppose. And maybe that's just what it's going to be, is like, hey, just enter and you can pull your name out or whatever. I still would do it at the end of the spring semester. This seems to make more sense, but I get why. Look, coaches want you in spring ball. To them, the season begins the last second ticks off the clock at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So I get that. Headlines coming up.
All right, we do have an accident. I-26 westbound. There's an accident on the shoulder. Shoulder is blocked. Again, that's I-26 westbound. According to the traffic people, it's I-26 westbound at I-26. Just saying. Also, construction I-126 between Hugie and I-26. I-26, Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road between those two exits. I-20 and I-26, exit 64 and 65 at Broad River Road and Blink Bonnie Road. The bridge is blocked between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. Jump back in here. The 5 o'clock news, sponsored by our buddies at Integrated Media.
It is 5 o'clock news time here on a Wednesday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the postgame show. Alongside Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. We stay with Gamecock football as South Carolina remains a 5.5-point favorite over the Vanderbilt Commodores on Saturday night, 7:45 kickoff. We'll have all-day coverage for you starting at 2:30 at Jay's Corner, no relation, before the ball game, and then get into network coverage. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Somebody did ask me that once. They're like, "Is that?" I was like, "No. It's just a letter in the alphabet."
That's it, man.
That's it.
It's not J-A-Y. Is it J?
Just a letter in the alphabet.
Oh, before I forget.
Yes.
Little Big Town tickets this hour.
Okay.
Give you some tickets for Little Big Town.
Do we know where they're playing?
Yeah, the Little Big Town tickets. I got to get more info from Jeannie.
Okay.
Well, I just know it's Little Big Town, baby.
Okay. That's good.
Little Big Town.
It's time for the news.
You can do it with Little Big Town underneath the back.
Not really. I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could.
Do the news.
But let's do the news instead. Again, conference play opens up, and listen, South Carolina fans do, I think, in some ways, rightly feel like this team is still not. I don't want to say not that close to being who they can be, but considering a 13-point win and a 28-point win, there's a lot of unrest, and a lot of it may be down to just a few simple things here and there, including winning the 50-50s. Here's Shane Beamer from his press conference on what his team needs to do to make that happen.
Play the ball better. It'd be one thing if Hale, if we had receivers running 5 yards past our defensive backs and we were just beat, then I'd really be concerned. Then I'd be going in there to Clayton talking about we need to call some different coverages where we don't put our defensive backs in those positions. But just like on the offensive line, sometimes guys are going to get beat. And it happened against Virginia Tech more than we wanted, for sure. But when you play one-on-one a lot like we do, man coverage, you're going to have those competitive catches, 50-50 balls. So in a lot of those instances, and even the one that the touchdown pass the other night that South Carolina State had, I mean, we're in position. We just got to do a better job of playing the ball when it's in the air and playing the technique that we teach when you're in phase with the receiver and you've got a chance to play the ball, just playing it with the proper techniques. We've obviously got to coach that better, and we will. And then there's certainly things. I mean, when you're down Brandon Cisse and Judge Collier the other night, we want to be able to, I don't want to say give those DBs an opportunity to breathe, but to breathe sometimes where it's not always going to be press man up in your face man coverage. We can mix up the coverages, which I thought Clayton did a good job of the other night as well, mixing in the coverages a little bit where they're not always, playing man coverage. But it's, why you come here, and it's how we play football around here, is tough and aggressive on defense.
I feel like there again, whether it's hearing from, and I know that was mostly about the defense, but Casey Henry and Boaz Stanley on needing to practice better, or some of the things Shane just said there, 50-50, and let's face it, Terry, 50-50 balls in a lot of sports, 50-50s in basketball when you have a hustle play, to go get a loose ball. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of 50-50s really in baseball, but certainly football has them, soccer has them, and 99 times out of 100, that's an effort thing.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be the one to go get it. If it's just up for grabs, even tip-off is maybe something different. But otherwise, again, loose balls in basketball or just whatever that 50-50 kind of feel is in football, it's effort. And the point I think that Shane's saying about some of these things, some of the players you're hearing, it's an us thing. It's not an opponent thing. It's not a lack of talent thing. It's an attitude thing. And I think if Carolina, that seems, in my opinion, to maybe be the easiest fix you have if you got to do it between the ears.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 50-50 ball thing, too, is recognizing the ball's in the air, right? And a lot of times they teach you when you're running with a wide receiver, when they turn to look for the ball, you need to turn to look for the ball because the ball's coming, right? Or they put their hands up. A hands up is a tell.
Right.
The hands go up, and they're looking. As soon as those hands go up, it means the ball's coming. You need to recognize and turn. So there's little technique things on 50-50 to recognize when the ball's coming on these plays that's not happening either. But to your point, yeah, a lot of 50-50 stuff is I want it more than you. I'm going to go get it and take it from you. And look, they've got guys on this team that can play. I mean, look, Cisse, I like Brandon Cisse. Of course, he got knocked out by his own guy.
We don't know
in
if
game 2 if he's going to play or not.
We'll find out later tonight, by the way, on the availability report.
But I like the way Cisse played. He came back from remember, he lost that 50-50 shot early in the game in Virginia Tech, but he came back and played very aggressive.
Because he was mad.
Yeah, exactly. He was annoyed that he lost a 50-50 ball. But it's 1-2 and it's recognition, right? There's a lot of 1-2 and some technique in this thing to go get it, because sometimes the guy just rips it from you because he wants the ball more than you, or you're not turning and recognizing. How many times have you seen this, Jay? Receiver's running, he turns and catches it. DB has no idea and turns late, or doesn't turn at all and gets a PI. So, but this is something, to your point, you can clean this up pretty easy.
Yeah.
You really can.
And again, let's hear it, in fact, one more time for those who didn't get to hear it. Boaz Stanley, number, was it 27,
right?
27, yes. This is Gamecock Center Boaz Stanley on some of the communication issues and how the team can fix them.
I think probably the communication a little bit. Obviously, we're talking about that a lot. But also just locking in practice. We got to really practice a lot harder than I think we have been. And so that's just it starts in practice of us, because we can't go out on Saturday and then just randomly like, hey, we're going to turn it on. We got to turn it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, lock in everything on Friday, and then we can play a lot better on Saturday. So that's kind of what we got to start. It's starting today, tomorrow, Thursday is just practicing harder, communicating better.
Again, fixable. You can practice harder and you can communicate better. Yeah. Again, it's not because we just don't have the ability, the bodies, whatever. It's again, is it a simple fix? Not necessarily, but if you recognize what it is that you need to go do.
Yeah.
We'll have more from the coaches and players in our Gamecock Notebook coming up in just a bit.
The good news is, communication, you can fix that.
Yeah.
50-50 balls, that kind of stuff can be cleaned up too.
You can maximize your effort. I'm not give 110%. No, just go just make sure you're always doing your best.
And again, you just got to recognize and then be more aggressive than the guys going up with you.
Right. Again, more from the Gamecocks coming up in the Gamecock Notebook in just a few minutes' time. Meanwhile, continuing our headlines of the day, and this is rather serious. Today, the NCAA ruled 3 men's basketball players out of all eligibility. They are Fresno State forward Michael Robinson, San Jose State guard Steven Vasquez, and Fresno State guard Jalen Weaver. They have been ruled permanently ineligible due to gambling violations. And now none of these 3 young men are even enrolled at their school. According to the NCAA, these guys manipulated performance for gambling purpose, reading here from David Purdum's piece. David covers sports gambling for ESPN, and then conspired with 2 others to place bets on his statistics. It says here, it's easier for me to read verbatim. Robinson and Vasquez, who were roommates at Fresno State during the 23-24 season, conspired to wager on Robinson to underperform during a game on January 7th of this past year in a game between Fresno and Colorado State. 3 prop bets totaling $2,200 were placed on the under on Robinson's statistics. The bets were flagged by a Nevada sportsbook, ended up winning a net of $15,950. One of the bets was placed by Vasquez and what the NCAA said was a sports book trader. Robinson himself also placed 13 prop bets on daily fantasy sites in December of last year into early January of this year. The investigation also discovered that Robinson and Weaver, who were teammates at Fresno, discussed betting lines on each other's stats, placed bets on themselves and each other in select games. And it goes on with other details, Terry. Weaver basically said, I get it. He said, I respect the NCAA's decision. I've taken accountability. My focus is now on my professional career, where I'm committed to proving myself on the court. Robinson was contacted by ESPN. He did not comment. And young Mr. Vasquez has not yet been contacted. They've tried. He simply has not responded to any requests. This is serious.
Yeah.
Because this isn't the first time that this has happened. I know that those out there who say, see, this is why you can't have sports betting be legal. I get it. I still contend that one fix is simply working with sports books as best you can to not have individual props on college athletes.
That's where it's at. You got to stop the prop bets on college games. Very simple.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to bet on the line, if you want to have the money line bet, you want to have the spread, you want to have the over-under, like, okay. But again, and this, I know we can sound like we're being smart alecks here because we even mentioned him earlier. Like, again, this is the Alabama coach having somebody go place a really outrageous bet on a college baseball game. The books are going to look at it and go, who the hell's doing that? Because nobody does it. Nobody's putting down wads of cash on a Fresno State, Colorado State under prop bet. Right. Unless there's something going. And it makes me wonder why are you even doing it. Now, they have it. But I don't know, Terry. I don't gamble. What's the typical prop bet? $50 on a little prop just for yucks?
Yeah,
but when you're doing $2,200 on somebody to hit a bunch of unders, and it's going to net you $16,000,
that's a flag.
The sports book's going to go, huh? What's up with this?
And that's the thing, and moving forward with this, because look, I get when people say this is why you can't do it. I get you, but again, there's too much money out here. It's not the genie again is not going back in the bottle. Too much money can be made in wagering, in sports wagering in this country. So what you see though is when you do stuff like this, you get caught because there are people who are watching every bet.
Well, and you know who's going to catch you first? We just told you. The sports books.
Yes, Vegas has got people watching every bet.
The NCAA ain't doing this, man. It's the books.
And here's why, because you know what the books like? They like to keep their money.
Integrity.
And they know if you start to screw with this, it screws them.
Yeah.
Because no one believes things are on the up and up, and they're not going to bet, which means they lose money. They all have staffs of people doing this. So really legalizing it has added even more folks to the enforcement side of it because there's so much money to be made.
Right.
You don't want to screw up with your integrity. But it is a thing because when you see this, and Fresno State was terrible last year, by the way.
Yeah, right.
They were awful.
Right.
I think they won 11 in conference or something. So one win in conference play or whatever, but they were just terrible. Point being is that leads to this thought. Ready? Well, you were so bad. Why?
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying.
Tanking every game. Yeah.
So that's the problem here. That is the issue. Is you start to think, well, things aren't on the up and up.
I just think the fix, and I know it would take a lot because especially when you get to the highest levels of football or basketball, and again, these guys, nobody knows who they are, right? And I'm just going to use Cooper Flagg last year. There might have been tons of prop bets on Cooper Flagg. This year there could be tons of prop bets on, Garrett Nussmeier or Lenore Sellers or Carson Beck or whomever, man, Jeremiah Smith catches or yards. Yeah. So that's different in terms of how the books feel when you say, well, hey, wait a minute. We don't want to take all these off because even if it's only $20 here and $100 there.
It's making us some dough. But you notice the people that are doing this and getting caught aren't high-level guys because the high-level guys got good NIL deals.
Right.
They don't want to risk their futures either by doing this. These guys are a lot of guys you look at as, wow, these guys are going to have great pro careers.
And they're working together on a $16,000, so they just, you $300 or $3,000, before taxes.
Right.
Like I get that's something.
Yeah.
But is it worth the stain on your?
Yeah, and
how do the pros look at you? They may look at you differently.
Absolutely,
Can we trust
they do.
you?
Because remember, the pros have kicked guys out for the gambling.
Yeah.
Same.
That's our integrated media headlines of the day. 803-948-8327 for all your home theater needs and so much more. Call Integrated Media. Get back into a discussion of Carolina and Vandy. The Gamecock Notebook is next.
So, hey, you're a guy, you're not feeling right. You don't know what it is, you're concerned, you got no drive in life in general, professional, sexual, personal. You don't remember things like you used to. You don't sleep as well as you did back in the day. You're exercising, you're not as strong at the gym, you just don't feel as fit. You don't recover from exercise as well. It could be just low testosterone. Call 803-875-MENS. Set up an appointment at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Go tell your story to Dr. Dan and the crew. If they think it could be low T, they'll do some lab work. And if it is low testosterone, they will come back with a personalized plan to fit you, to get you to feel like you again. Make the call, 803-875-MENS, Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Start feeling like you again. It all starts with a call to the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Quick check on the traffic and accident. I-126 westbound at I-26. Again, I-126 westbound at I-26. There's an accident. Shoulder is blocked. Also construction. Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. The bridge is blocked. I-20 and 26 between exits 64 and 65 at Broad River Road construction. I-126 between Hugie and I-26. And I-26 Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road between those two exits.
Welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on here. Time for our Gamecock Notebook. Speaking of the Gamecocks, over at Gamecock Village this Saturday, we get a bunch of boats for the I think it's the 5th annual, right? Boating and Fishing Alliance Gamecock football showcase. If you like boats, Terry, you like boats. You're a boat guy.
I love boats, man.
Is that the law in Maryland?
I love when I can use somebody else's boat.
Have to have boats? There's a lot of water.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a boat. You don't have to own it. Like, I'd rather just have somebody else's boat and give it back to them so they can clean it and pay for the all the fees and stuff.
Yeah, but the South Carolina Boating and Fishing Alliance, I get the official title, the Boat and Fish Football Expo during Family Weekend.
I like that.
Go buy Terry a boat.
Yeah, I need a boat. I love. Dude, there's nothing like just chilling on the water in a boat.
It is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree.
Big pontoon boat.
Yeah,
man.
my father-in-law has one. We go down on the Waccamaw River sometimes, and it's not bad.
And you know the best part about that? It's not your boat.
Right. I don't. All I do is get in and get out.
Takes care of everything.
That's right.
You just jump on the boat and go hang out.
I remember having to, when my grandfather had one back in the day, I remember having to clean the boat.
Clean the boat, you pay the docking fees and all these other things, and you pay for the boat itself, and you pay for the gas, you pay for all that stuff. I remember a neighbor of mine once, I was like, man, I want to get a boat. And he goes, no, you don't. You want to get a friend who owns a boat.
Yeah, boats, they're fun, but
they're fun.
It's work.
Yes, it is.
It's work. All right. Do you want to give away some tickets?
Yeah, let's give away tickets right now. Go to 803. What's our
404
404-6100.
That's it.
That's our Firehouse Sub text line.
It is.
Text the words Little Big Town.
Okay.
803-404-6100. Little Big Town.
Okay.
It's September 13th in Charlotte.
Okay. That's that way.
That way. Mm-hmm. So 803-404-6100, September 13th in Charlotte. Little Big Town. Text Little Big Town.
And it's like a race to get in. How many tickets are we giving away?
1 billion. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Jeannie's going to handle that part. Just text and you might win some tickets.
We're pulling for you.
That's what I got. I text her, double check. I get this text back. I'm driving.
Well, somebody's going to win, and maybe more people.
Please don't call the AAA Heating and Air phone line.
Don't
just
call.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Sub text line.
It's a text to win.
Text to win.
We're modern.
Yeah, we got cell phones and stuff, Jay.
Little Big Town.
Little Big Town. Text that to 803-404-6100.
There you go. In the meantime, Mike Shula spoke today, and we'll let you hear a couple of minutes from the Gamecock OC as they try to get the kinks worked out as conference play begins, and we'll start with a question for our good friend David Cloninger.
After 2 weeks, what do you think is the biggest issue toward getting the run game on track to where it needs to be?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a little bit with everything. You know, just got to be more consistent. Continue working on being on the same page, and that's not just communicating, but all the little things that you do in the run game with offensive linemen on double teams, when to come off onto a backer, the quickness of reacting to certain things. So our guys are working really hard. They're doing a good job, and we're getting better. We're not quite where we want to be, but all that ties into it's not just the run game. It just ties into doing things that keep us on the field. We got to get on the field more, stay on the field, and make first downs and give ourselves some opportunities.
With pre-snap penalties, could you give us an idea of how frustrating those can be just in the moment when they're kind of setting you back like that?
Yeah, I mean it's hard, and the guys are. I mean we got to be focused, all that kind of stuff. We got to do a really good job there, and they are focused. They practice hard in that way, and it's unfortunate you can't do it. You got to keep your poise. You got to stay, keep your concentration, stay locked in, and the pre-snap ones are the things that you can control, and you can't do that on offense. You don't want to have any, but keep them down because those are negative plays, and they end up have to overcome those.
Mike, seeing what Vakari Swain has done on punt return, is there any part of you, knowing that he's played offense in the past, that you maybe want him out there on your side of the ball? And have there been any discussions maybe about that potentially?
I've been teasing him since I first got here, watching him, and he's got great ball skills. it's really cool to watch. Offensively, you know, we're getting ready to go out there on the field to go try to do our thing and make first downs and go score, and then all of a sudden you see the ball get returned for a touchdown, and he's really, you know, just this is as an outsider, so to speak, because I coach on offense, but just kind of watching him and watching his maturity and his development since I've been here. And to see his hard work pay off has been pretty cool. He's very talented, and like you said, he's got some skills that you could use on offense. But no, defense loves him, and we're happy that he's playing where he is and on defense and special teams.
Hey, Mike. Yesterday, Boaz was in here talking about communication was being worked on a lot with the offensive line. In your eyes, what makes a good offensive line in today's college game?
Okay. Yeah. Well, communication's one. I mean, you know, there's as we've all heard, you know, over the years, yes, communication and talent and toughness and the ability to finish on every play, make adjustments, and you know, I think as we all know, you know, there's the offensive line. You know, a lot of times the only time their name comes up is when negative things happen. You know, and yet. So we, as coaches, I think, you know, as fans and stuff like that, sometimes overlook, not sometimes, we do overlook a lot of the good things that's going on. And we see it every day in practice. And today was another good example of guys that are just really working hard. And, you know, we just got to continue to work hard and have that happen on game day more than we've had have happened.
Hey, Coach, it was reported this week that Lenoris came to you and asked for more quarterback run calls for him, maybe up to 15 a game. Have you guys talked directly about that? Is that something that will be happening?
Yeah, we talk a lot every week about, you know, what his job is and how we do it and how we're going to best win games.
All right, there you go. Good stuff from Coach Mike Shula.
How good was that answer?
Yeah.
That was short and to the point.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Mike's not going to go, well, you know, it's actually going to be 12 that we'll do.
Yeah, Lenoris and I have hammered out a number, and it's 10.
But if you are wondering about that last part, our buddy Hale McGranahan was on with us earlier, and Hale had one of those questions that you just heard. But he also mentioned that report was from our good friend Tony Morrell of the Big Spur, who said that he had heard that internally there had been that discussion. And again, it brings us back to the question of Lenoris maybe just not being himself in the first couple of games, and somewhat, you know, by everyone's design.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I thought about, Terry, and I'm not going to bang the drum of the developmental league here, I promise, but in the sense, I will a little bit in the sense that, look, as much as college programs, and this is not unique to Lenoris and Mike Shula and Shane Beamer in South Carolina, all right? This is coast-to-coast, border-to-border talk I'm giving you now. Your job is to win.
Right, absolutely. In college.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, yes, programs, especially at the highest level, like the Southeastern Conference, want to develop their players for the next level because that brings more good players into the program. But you still got to make winning job one. And as much as you want to develop somebody, whether it's a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, a lineman, hey, it's done a little differently at the next level. But then at some point, you got to also say to yourselves collectively, the player, the coach, the staff, whomever, listen, we got to go win the football game.
Yes.
And again, most of the time, I won't say all of the time, but most of the time, when Lenoris Sellers is on the football field, and there's 21 other dudes out there, he's the best player on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, he is.
Most of the time. Got to go let him be him. And if that means, you know, and again, how much he's going to, he's not going to demand it.
Right.
But Terry, he's really good at running the ball.
Last time I checked, yes. He has a skill.
There's that. But communications, and then again, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, and I saw what Mike had to say there too. I don't think Vakari Swain is going to be playing.
No, it doesn't sound like it, does it?
I would let him play defense and return punts. That'll work.
I think that works for now.
Yeah, that for now you're good. Again, supplemental touchdowns. That's what we're going to call them. That's my new label. Gamecocks this season have 4 supplemental touchdowns. So we're gonna leave it at that for a little bit. All right, that's our Gamecock Notebook for this Wednesday. Come back on the other side with a drive around the SEC. Some bad news for Missouri. We'll give you that and more coming up.
All right, quick check on the traffic. We have an accident. I-126 westbound at I-26. Shoulder is blocked there. Also I-77 southbound at 12th Street. There's an accident. 2 right lanes are blocked. Then we have our typical construction on I-26 between Bush River Road and Sandy Run Road. Also I-126 between Hugie and I-26. And Blink Bonnie Road, the bridge is blocked between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. They are doing construction. We'll come back, get you a drive around the SEC here on the postgame show.
All right, welcome back in. Time for our drive around the SEC here on this Wednesday afternoon, brought to you by Herndon Chevy. Jay and Terry with you. First off, some bad news for the Missouri Tigers. I guess we call him their backup quarterback, right? Looks like Bo Pebrul is number one, but he and Sam Horn had been competing, but Sam was injured basically as soon as he went out on the opening game a couple weeks ago. Now it is confirmed he will miss the season. He had surgery to repair his broken right tibia. And he is indeed done for the year. This young man is also a pitcher in the Dodgers organization.
I was going to say this hurts him because he's a professional pitcher.
He's a two-sport guy. So pulling for him, I mean, he'll recover from this.
Sure.
And he should be okay, I suppose, for baseball next year.
Yeah, you would think.
You would think?
Mm-hmm. And by the Pebrul's had a really nice start.
Yes.
Really nice start.
They're good, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. But tough for Sam Horn. But he is out for the season. Again, surgery to repair his broken right tibia. Interesting. I wouldn't call this an SEC Big Ten battle, but it is a thing. Today in the SEC coaches teleconference, the vast majority, really, they say it's unanimous. I can't tell you that all 16 coaches got this question, but they probably did because that's how a lot of these Wednesday teleconferences work. But there was a lot of questioning today of the new transfer portal proposal that is not yet fully approved by the NCAA, but we expect it to be rubber stamped next month, and it would basically open a 10-day period between the first and second weeks of January. Open on January 2 for 10 days. It would follow the quarterfinals that will be held on New Year's Day, which means 4 schools would still be left, obviously, playing football when the portal opens. Ryan Day of Ohio State said that he was concerned about trying to assemble a roster for next year while still competing in the playoff. Brian Kelly asked about that today, said, quote, "I'm sorry, but there's no crying on the yacht. We got to get this thing set and in its best position at this time to allow us to set our rosters moving forward. I've talked to many that believe across the country this is the progress that we need to make." Kirby Smart said that roster management could be, in his words, quote, "nightmarish" because of this. And Brent Venables said, "I don't think there's any perfect place by any stretch, but being able to get guys in school the end of the season for 95% of college football is there. The kids have made their decisions anyway. Let's get a window that makes sense for everybody to recruit, evaluate, and still be able to get them into school." So if Brent Venables is right and the majority of kids have made their decision before the portal officially opens, then, Terry, that's simply going to mean that there's a lot of behind-the-scenes maneuvering because you still got to get academically in. Now, look, with football players, it can be different when they go to, the registrar's office.
Right.
And the admissions department, right?
Yep.
And, so I do understand that accommodations can be made. But you still got to get them into school. They still need to have a schedule and all these other things.
Here's my question real quick. If your mind's already made up before the portal opens, that doesn't mean people are tampering with you, does it? No.
I don't want to answer that question.
That would never happen.
I don't want to answer that question. Next question. Who was that? Drew Rosenhaus? Next question.
Next question.
Next question. Again, my opinion would be to do this at the end of the spring semester in early May. But I certainly understand why coaches want to do this at the end of the fall semester and during the first week of January. Because to them, again, of the 4 FBS schools still playing, that means 130-something aren't. And their season, if you will, has begun. Because your bowl game is over. Really, again,
you get ready for next year.
When your bowl game is over, if you don't have one, then your season ends in November.
Well, let's be fair. I mean, a lot of these teams, even their bowl game, that 6 weeks of practice is for next year.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's a second spring, right? Or
absolutely.
Now a first spring, almost. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's not like spring where you only get 15. You can practice every day if you want.
Yep.
just up
So-
until your bowl game. So and coaches use it.
I love Kelly. There's no crying on the yacht. Here's my question to Brian Kelly. If you were perennially in the college football playoff, would you be looking at this different from
look,
your yacht?
Yeah, I was going to say, regardless of when he is going to end his season this year or last year or whatever, Brian Kelly's on a yacht.
Absolutely.
Let's make no mistake.
Yeah.
LSU ain't sailing around in a little 14-foot Duracraft.
No, they're not in a rowboat. No.
You know?
No, they're not.
I mean, I had one of those when I was a kid, man. It was cool. I had a little 25 Mercury and a little trolling motor. It was great.
Oh, that's funny.
But
Brian Kelly wasn't in there with you.
No, and neither is LSU football.
No, not at all.
Just saying. So again, Coach Venables is right. There isn't a perfect place. There just isn't. There just. I mean, there isn't.
No matter what anybody says, someone's going to have a pushback.
Yeah.
Just the way this is.
Yeah.
It's for everything pretty much in college athletics.
And if it, and I don't know if it means you can't get into a certain school, then I don't know what to say. That's what I'm saying. Or for a kid on one of those teams, it's number, he's number 90 on the roster, if you will, and I don't mean his uniform number, and he knows that he's at a Georgia, a Texas, but man, I'm not going to play next year. Do what Bo Prabula did last year?
Yeah, Bo Prabula or the backup quarterback at Ohio State also took off.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
And I can't off the top of my head either. Brown. The kid Brown took off.
And look.
And think about that, Jay. You're
Aaron Nolan
leaving
came
your
to Columbia.
team. Yeah, you're leaving your team while they're still playing in the playoffs.
Right.
That's an insane idea.
Right. Which is why I do think that college football is going to have to do some real soul searching about having the playoff end on New Year's Day. And I know that would be a hell of an alteration to everything.
To me, you have to sit down.
Or at least the second week of January.
You've got to try to make your calendar make sense. You just do.
Your portal shouldn't open if anybody is still playing.
I don't care if two teams are playing.
Right. It should.
You can't do that.
But again, you can't have it go till the third week of January. By then, at most places, you're 2 weeks into school. And usually, drop ad is like you get a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like I said,
and even football players, Terry, can't miss 3 weeks of school.
Well, some places, yeah.
Well,
but no, you can bet. Look, there's the thing. We could sit here and throw all the different scenarios out on the table, and like we just said, someone's going to have you can't do that.
Right.
Because like you even said, and your idea for doing it in the spring when you kind of almost have the perfect storm of, you're getting rid of that spring semester, you're out of football, but then someone's going to say, wait a minute, man, don't be screwing with the spring calendar now for football.
Right. And that's where college coaches are by and large. And I get it. Again, I'm not here to say that's the wrong way to think
Randy,
about it.
though, there's some coaches who want to get more of the NFL model and move that spring football up.
And I'm with that. I'm with that.
See, that's going on, too.
I would have spring football in late May. I know that might not be ideal, but we can get used to change in this world. And then everybody has a wide open shot.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, if the Power Four wants to these days, they don't really have to say, well, we can't have 2 springs. You know what? Who's going to stop you?
Right.
So if you want to have March, April, spring football still, and then have something else in May,
when you add
vote
new players,
for that. When you have autonomy now, vote for that stuff.
Right.
I almost slipped. I mean, vote for that.
You've been almost slipping lately.
Well,
that's 2 or 3
sometimes I
of
get
them here
fired
lately.
up.
You get a little fired up here lately.
By the way, these semifinals this year will be on January 8th and 9th. So for those teams, you'd have 3 or 2 days, basically, to then decide on the portal if you hadn't already. And again, do you want to know you're going into the portal and still be someone who may need to be counted upon for your team?
Yes.
Does your coach want that? Like that's again, it's awkward. You just and it's a distraction.
I just don't
These
think
are things
you
you
can do
don't
it.
need. And Lord knows, man, college football coaches hate distractions and awkwardness. So, anyway, we'll see. But the SEC coaches say they are unanimously in support of January 2 to 12 for a new portal window. That's our drive around the SEC. We'll wrap up start, bench, drop. Little J versus the internet on the other side. All right, welcome back in. Final few minutes of the post-game show on this Wednesday. Tomorrow on the program, excited to welcome back on our buddy Tom Hart, ESPN and SEC Network play-by-play man. He'll be on the call Saturday night with the SEC Network. He and Jordan Rogers for the game of the week at Williams-Brice. Tom, many moons ago, worked here in Columbia as play-by-play man of the Bombers. He's been on with us several times. So tomorrow, he'll be the subject of the Gamecock Notebook. It'll be 5:15 tomorrow. So there's that. So we'll move some Gamecock stuff around.
Oh, is that what we're doing tomorrow?
Yeah. So, no, it's always great to have Tom on the show. That'll be tomorrow, and then Friday we'll be out, right, at
Columbia Craft, man. Friday tailgate show, babe.
So
that's what we're doing.
Come have a beer?
Yep, or buy us a beer.
Oh, thanks. In advance. I'm thanking you in advance for wanting to do that.
I'm always looking out for us.
All right, today's start bench drop was, again, early season hot seat coach edition. Kalen DeBoer, Mike Gundy, Billy Napier. We give you choices like this in alphabetical order so as not to try and taint the jury pool in any way. Franklin said start Sunbelt Billy, bench Gundy, drop DeBoer.
You know what? Mine's reversed.
Okay.
Mine start Gundy, bench Napier, drop DeBoer.
Okay. Let me get to a couple of more here real quick. If my computer will cooperate. Here we go. This one guy just says, unless there is significant improvement for the rest of the season, all three of them will be gone.
Well, he's not wrong. At least 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I have a hard time.
I think DeBoer is going to survive.
Yeah, I mean, unless Bama goes like 3-9 or 4. Well,
it's got to go in the crapper, my man.
Yeah,
I think he gets a third year unless this thing goes sideways.
But is the crapper just making like 6-6? Like if they don't make a bowl, that's unthinkable.
Yes, then I think he gets like
because even Nick Saban's first season they were 6-6 and went to the Independence Bowl.
Yeah, if this thing goes totally off the rails, then he could be gone. But I think he survives for year 3. Now I think Napier and Gundy, it's a different story.
Brad says start Gundy, bench Napier, drop DeBoer.
Yeah,
Gundy is a fired man walking.
Yeah.
And JM I think it says start Billy, bench Gundy, drop DeBoer.
Yeah. Where are you at?
That's mine. That last one. Start Billy Napier. I just listen. It's not just losing to South Florida. That's one of those games where the result is so Florida was uninspired. They were sloppy. They were undisciplined. Yes, the kid spitting was like that's the straw that breaks the camel's back kind of a thing. But that camel was already aching, man. And
that back was already sore.
Yeah, and that's just again, he's 20-20. This is not a small sample size. He's got a losing record in conference play. Mm-hmm. He's got a losing record against Power 4 opponents, including the FSU and Miami games and bowl games. Florida recruits well. Florida has the resources. It's just not happening. It's just not happening.
I think, look, and that schedule's a bear.
Yeah, and I don't see it getting any better. Look, if they find a way again, so be it. Gundy, listen, 21 years is a long time. And it might just be time for a different way of thinking in Stillwater. He's one of their own. He can go be fundraiser. He can be radio analyst or whatever. He's doing fine.
Yeah.
So he and Mrs. Gundy can go. They can go get their own yacht.
Yeah, he's not going to be working part time. Over at the Costco.
I think Bama's gonna be okay. That was a bad loss.
That was bad.
But I think they'll be.
I think Gundy to me almost was telling you to please fire me this past week. He has a taste for this new world.
It's just, I think it's, All right, let's do it real quick.
And now, Jay versus the Internet. It's the post-game show on the Game Network.
All right, Jay versus the Internet. Tomorrow be a lot of football. Today, no football. So, Blake Snell, starting pitcher, LA Dodgers, has only gone over 5 innings in 2 starts. He's only had 8 this year. Over under Blake Snell, 5 1/3 innings pitched.
Who they have?
The Dodgers. Oh, I just blanked it out. They played. Yeah, look, because they played. I forget who it was. They played the same team last night.
That's the Angels. Hang on. Dodgers are hosting Colorado.
Right.
Yeah, give me an over.
Yep. All right. Will the Guardians make it 6 wins in a row at home versus Kansas City?
Sure.
Toronto Blue Jays. That was so. Sure.
Why not?
Toronto Blue Jays.
They're playing Houston, so whatever the Blue Jays are doing.
Well, because the Blue Jays are over under 4.5 runs scored, because they score a ton of runs at home, but the Astros have the best road ERA. But you're going to do anything against
Toronto.
the Astros.
I hate you. Houston again.
I could say Toronto 20.5 runs, and you take Toronto.
I might not, but.
All right, take Toronto.
Yeah.
Here's your J or nay.
Thanks. See, I don't do this with any. Like,
that's why you might be that your poker face. You do not belong in
analytical
Vegas.
Thought. Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of not betting. I can make faces, right? I can just pour my heart into this.
Yeah,
I don't like the Houston Astros. So
now, if we were using real money, your money in your bank account,
yeah,
would you still go with Toronto?
No, I would say buy stock in Coca-Cola with my real money.
You're a thrill seeker. I can just tell.
That's right. Yeah.
Live on the seat of your pants.
That's right.
Thrill seeker.
Buy some stock in Southern Company. See y'all tomorrow. All right, how's this for a segue? Another safe bet is AAA Heating and Air. They can keep you nice and comfortable, not just for the